Morning, everybody. Morning, and welcome once again to Perkins Online. Vice Mr. Golding is predicting an election in February at the end, before the World Cup cricket, which begins in March, no? I shouldn't be surprised if that happened. I think that the government's chances of a third term in office, of a fifth term in office, I beg your pardon, would have been immensely greater had the election been called a month or so after Sister P became Prime Minister. I think she has slipped considerably in public esteem since then. And remember Mr. Patterson telling us that she was not only the party's best hope for the fifth term, but indeed the party's only hope. The party, by implication, having been in office for more than 18 years now, cannot go to the country arguing for a fifth term on the basis of its merits. That is to say, on the basis of its performance in government. That is clearly the implication of what Mr. Patterson was saying. Its only hope is that the people's love for Sister P and their excitement at having a woman as Prime Minister will cause them to vote for the PNP in order to have Sister P in the Prime Ministerial slot. But now, more and more people are seeing that Sister P doesn't really seem to be in command of the situation. Even the St. Lucian pollster, he has under his the Sister P's standing with the public, as he has reported them, has been slipping substantially since she became Prime Minister. This morning there's a poll reported in the Gleaner by the St. Lucian, the St. Lucian pollster. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller's popularity has waned yet again, according to the latest Gleaner commissioned Bill Johnson opinion poll. The poll, conducted between January 5th and 6th, shows that Mrs. Simpson Miller fell a further 2 percentage points, down from a favorable 54% in October to 52% this month. Of course, this is down from 78% in March 2006 when she became Prime Minister. Of course, there's an element of tomfoolery here, because the difference between 52% and 54% is less than the margin of error that the poll is supposed to carry with it, to have. So I don't know what is going on here. We are being told that her popularity has slipped. As measured by the poll, it has not. It cannot be said that it has slipped, really, because the margin, that difference is not greater than the margin of error. But, I suppose it gives a good impression for this PNP pollster to be seen as saying that her popularity is slipping. But that is more than compensated for by the fact that the St. Lucian pollster has Mr. Golding well below Mrs. Simpson-Miller's rating. So she has every reason. I don't know what reliance she places on the St. Lucian poll. But I think that people reading this, and believing in the poll, might well come to the conclusion that with all the slippage, Sister P remains on top. She does, according to, here we are. Where is Mr. Golding now? I'm not finding it very easily. But Mr. Golding is well below that, according to the St. Lucian pollster. Here we are. In March, 35% viewed Mr. Golding favorably, 50% unfavorably. In May, 31% Mr. Golding declining, favorable rating, 42% unfavorably, both declining. In July, 31%, 44%. In October, he had a little spurt, 35% favorably, 46% unfavorably. The unfavorable going up as well. Then he goes back down to, in January, 34% favorable, 42% unfavorably, right? So Miss Sister P, according to what the St. Lucian would like us to believe, is still favorably rated. So she might well go to the election before Cricket World Cup, having regard to the fact especially that from the comments that are being made all over the place, one is getting the impression that Cricket World Cup could well turn out to be an embarrassment for the country. Some time ago she spoke about a program of beautification for the country to make it presentable in the eyes of the international visitors coming in for Cricket World Cup. I hear talk that nothing is happening there, and the time is closing in on us. I think we're down to 30-something days or 50-something days. I can't remember, but not a long time in which to correct some of the uglification problems that we have had in this country, and in particular in the corporate area. where most of the matches are to be played. Some very, very serious problems. Yesterday, we were driving home, and it was as we passed over the bridge at Constant Spring. A fair amount of garbage was visible in the gully. And this is all over the city. All sorts of problems. In addition to which, of course, the question is whether we're really going to have a lot of visitors coming in here for the World Cup program. I don't know, it seems a little uncertain at the moment. But if it turns out to be an embarrassment, it would have been good to have had the election before then. And some of the developments that have been happening, the Minister of Local Government has been striving very hard to provide an antidote to Trafigura. I'm not sure of his success. And now we hear this morning, big story on the front page of the Gleaner, about skeletons and human bones. Well, a skeleton, a full skeleton, and other bones, some skulls and other bones, have been discovered in some part of the Maypen Cemetery. And we are hearing more about, what is it being called? A torture chamber, is it? Some word like that has been used before. And the Gleaner's headline is telling us grisly find in West Kingston. We are hearing that almost 10 years after 5 bodies and 2 human skulls were discovered in a busy area near the train line off Industrial Terrace, West Kingston, more human remains were found in the vicinity on Monday. We're taking a break. We come back to you. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Yes, I was saying that they've found some bones in the Maypen Cemetery, and I suspect that this is going to be associated with Tivoli. And the Gleaner story mentions that there were some skulls and other bones found in 1997. In September 1997. 5 bodies. Was that before or after the raid on Tivoli? 97. Yes, there was a big raid on Tivoli in 97. And in recent years, every time an election is coming up, there's a big raid on Tivoli. Well, something happens in Tivoli. From 93, when they arrested a tailor in Tivoli for changing soldiers' uniforms and police uniforms, and found a big bag of bullets in his tailor shop, and saw gunmen running out of the place as the army approached. And he was arrested, shortly, a few days before the election, and up to now, so far as I'm aware, that case has not come to trial. It just seemed to have disappeared. And then, of course, there was the 1997 gun battle. And then the 2001, the year before the 2002 election. And now it seems that we need another raid on Tivoli. Anyway, talking about which, and this is a matter that is not unrelated to the issue of the corruption in the police force. There's been another demonstration overnight about police killings. Two men killed by the police. And the people demonstrating, they're quite on in age, I believe. And, how can one escape the question? We've been hearing so much about corruption in the police force. How can one be content to put such heavy armament in the hands of policemen who, for all we know, might be corrupt? And if they are corrupt in other ways, what is there going to be to prevent them being corrupt in the use of those firearms? We continue to witness a high level of killings by the police, and very often people demonstrating about the injustice of those killings. But very little attention is paid to these matters. We are supposed to have investigative units, but these are manned by police, right? And the process of investigation is far from satisfactory. Very often the investigation is begun by the police who do the shootings. They take up the gun, they move the body, they do all kinds of things. And by the time they are finished, there is very little for the investigators to do that would show, if that were the case, that the police had acted wrongly. Right? And the people who are there demonstrating, they are not being taken too seriously by authority. So if that is the view that, the authorities have of the people of Jamaica, among whom these shootings occur, what do they really expect? What view do they expect those people to have of the police? And how would they expect to engender cooperation between the public and the police? It ain't gonna work. Not like that. We need to set up proper investigative units to ensure, as far as possible, that if the police turn their guns upon Jamaicans and kill them, they were fully justified in doing so. And if not, that those policemen are put before the courts and the evidence brought, and that the possibility of their conviction is as great as that of any other person coming before the courts. But can we really believe all of that? Is that happening? Don't look so to me. Don't really look so. And there is where a lot of our problems in this country spring from. Right? I gather that we're having a problem. Our listeners are calling in to say that they're not hearing the program. They're having difficulty with it. Very odd. They're having, yes, they're getting distortion and distortion of the sound and music coming in on the line. Okay. There was a debate in Parliament yesterday. The Minister of Finance brought a motion. He wants to take from the Capital Development Fund something in excess of $2 billion to help fund the budget. The opposition has objected to it. I'm not sure that the grounds of those objections, of that objection, is what I would have wished to hear. There is a kind of irresponsibility going on. That Capital Development Fund was set up by the Michael Manley government in the 1970s. And it was one of the exceptions to a particularly bad period of government. The bauxite industry, on which we depend so heavily in this country, is exploiting a wasting asset. We're not going to have bauxite around forever. That is well known. In fact, if the bauxite we have lasts another 30, 40 years, it would have done well. When the bauxite is over, it's finished with, what do we do? Where do we earn the revenues that we are now earning from bauxite? And the idea, as I understood it, of setting up the Capital Development Fund was to use that money to facilitate investments that would provide an alternative means of income, and at the same time provide an income even while the bauxite industry is going on. Now, I don't know that this has been happening. The Labour Party, and particularly Mr. Smith, has been complaining that the bauxite companies have been digging bauxite out of his constituency, and that the constituency is not in any way benefiting. You know, these huge pits are left in the constituency. They're not benefiting, and that the Capital Development Fund should be used to provide some benefit for the people in the constituency, their roads and all this kind of thing. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not for a moment saying that their roads don't need to be properly maintained, right? but not out of the Capital Development Fund, I should have thought. The Capital Development Fund is supposed to exist for another purpose. But that purpose is not for the Minister of Finance to raid every now and then, to dig out some money to put into the budget that he can't otherwise fund. Because his government and himself have brought this country to a point where government exists for no greater purpose than to pay debt, to borrow money and to pay debt. And the debt has reached the point where all the revenues that the government can get from taxpayers in this country cannot service the debt. The biggest single item in the government's budget, every year after year after year, is the servicing of debt. And Dr. Davis continues, it seems, to believe that it is not how men organize to, and it's true not only of Dr. Davis, but if you listen to some of the people, the commentators on economic matters in this country, they seem to go along with it. That what matters is not production, how we get this country producing at a level that will enable us to, provide decent roads and whatever. But how we can organize the borrowing and how we're going to pay the service the debt and all this kind of rubbish. We take a break, we come back shortly. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. The argument over what happened in the Hanover Parish Council continues. I'm not sure that we have all the information before us, all the relevant information before us. I would like, for example, to find out with whom did the chairman of the parish, the mayor, with whom did the mayor's company have a contract? Was it with the owners of the hotel project, or was it with a contractor? They have a trucking company. They weren't building the hotel. The contractor building the hotel would have needed certain services. And was it that contractor that contracted with the trucking company? What I have heard is that it wasn't even that contractor. It was some other firm contracted to that building company, right? So I would like, if possible, to hear from the former mayor. Maybe he can give us some information about that, because the other thing that the contractor general has come out with a criticism of the, what's it called now, the petroleum, no, not PCG. Oh Lord, fingers just dropped out of my head. And that too is being contested, I gather. It is my understanding. Okay, all right, we'll come back to that later on. Hello?
Good morning, sir.
Morning to you, Mr. Phipps.
How are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
Good.
And you?
Oh, so-so?
So-so.
Nothing that some money can't cure?
No, what?
Nothing that a little money can't cure.
Including old age?
It makes it more comfortable.
I see.
What's happening?
But you seem to have been very uncomfortable recently. You had an article in the
Observer?
In the Observer.
From the Observer, yes.
Devastating in its criticism of the justice system.
Well, part of it, yes, okay. The Farquharson Institute, yes.
Yes. But it was signed by you.
The first part was by the Farquharson Institute about missing files.
Oh, I see.
The second part about the relevance of the judiciary in combating crime.
Yes.
Is from the chairman himself.
Yes.
There are really 2 points that were...
I beg your pardon?
There are really 2 articles that were put in one.
Well, but they're all part and parcel of the same thing.
Yes, the justice system, as they call it these days, the justice system. Of course, I grew up knowing about the administration of justice.
Yes. But
we are very disturbed about it, you know. The reform that is taking place done by the Ministry of Justice with assistance from, I think, the Canadian Bar.
Yes.
I feel very strongly that they are fixing the institutions without first going into the areas that are crying out for justice, you know, and finding out what are their major complaints.
Yes.
This is the point we tried to make.
But are we really interested in delivering justice to our people in this country, Mr. Phipps?
Well, I think we all are, you know, because...
Are we really?
Because we talk about, you remember the saying, no peace without justice?
Yes, indeed.
Because if we don't make sure that the persons who are screaming for justice, they don't get it, then you will never have peace.
Yes.
We need to look first of all in those areas to find out when people are calling, alleging injustice, what exactly are they complaining about?
Yes.
One can talk about the access to the courts and the access to the police and the rest of all that, right? But one needs to have an intimate association with them to find out what is their complaint.
Yes.
Otherwise you will be, what we try to say is you'll be putting old wine into new wine skins to invert the...
Well, new wine into old wine skins.
No, I'm doing it deliberately.
Oh, I see what you mean.
I'm doing it deliberately.
Yes.
You know, the old problem exists in the ghetto, and you're putting that problem into a new system. I think you're starting at the wrong end. You know, and we can't solve it. This problem of dealing with crime is, as we try to say, is beyond the reach of the wig and gown.
Yes.
You know, the courts cannot just solve it like that.
No.
You've got to find out, I'm repeating myself here. For example, we made the point that when the police go into an area, is it the beginning of justice for those people? Or is it the end of justice? Do you follow?
Maybe what somebody should do is go and do some research, ask the people what they think.
This is precisely what the point we try to make. This is where the whole question of the review of the administration of justice must start. You might find that the system might be relieved of a lot of the pressures that it is under now, and very little changes need to be made.
Mr. Phipps, what do you think is the essence of the problem?
I think...
When you bear in mind,
yes.
Bear in mind those 2 articles, right?
Yes.
In one case, files are all over the place.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Which speaks to me of a kind of carelessness in the administration.
Yes.
Right? And then there is the rest of it that you spoke about.
Yes. But
what is the essential problem?
May I just say this you know, and this is a personal matter. Since the year has started, I have had 4 cases in 4 different courts, and not one got started.
Yes?
Yeah, and that's me alone. I don't know about other practitioners.
Yes.
For different reasons we are there. The other side isn't ready, the other side isn't prepared. It is disgraceful, the delays that take place in the courts. And some of it is due to practitioners, private practitioners, but much of it is due to the government lawyers. I don't know if they are short staff or what. Let me give you an example. You go to court and a particular prosecutor has a case. It's fixed for trial on a particular date confirmed. You go there and another prosecutor who comes up and says, well, I'm just seeing the file, I don't know anything about it. And this can happen 2 or 3 times.
Yes.
You know, all that type of thing must stop immediately.
But let me ask you something. Does this not cost the accused person more money?
Well, it depends on how you have arranged your affairs with him.
Yes.
You know?
But I mean, why a lawyer who arranges to defend somebody?
Yes.
And the fees agreed upon.
Yes.
If he finds himself going to court 10, 15, 20 times.
Yes.
I mean, does he not expect to be paid for this time?
But it's hard to ask the client to pay it in those circumstances. But then the lawyer has to find another date now to accommodate the particular case. It is, and then the poor judge sometimes has 8, 9, 10 cases list for trial on one day.
Yes.
You know, this is all nonsense.
But it is notorious, is it not?
Fixed in the court.
It is notorious, is it not?
Yes.
That the home circuit or some other circuit court opens.
Yes.
There are, 250 cases listed for trial.
Yes.
And by the end of the circuit, there are still possibly over 100.
Carrying over to the next circuit.
Carrying over to the next circuit.
Yes.
And it keeps on building up in this way.
Yes, yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, that doesn't make sense.
Well, I suppose that's what the review is looking into, you know. But I'm just wondering if the money that is being spent on paying the Canadian Bar Association, this is a question. If the money couldn't have been used to engage the services of the Jamaica Bar Association.
Yes.
You know, who would be more intimately associated with the problems. But then there must be a good reason for getting the Canadians. I don't know.
But there's another problem. It's been said that it is not only of some importance, but of fundamental importance that justice should not only be done,
yes,
but that it should manifestly and undoubtedly be seen to be done.
Yes, yes.
Now,
open justice, eh?
Absolutely.
Yes, one gets the impression that the system is there excluding those who are affected, you know.
I beg your pardon?
One gets the impression,
yes,
that the system is being administered excluding those who are intimately affected. That is to say, an accused comes before the court, but why he comes before the court, the circumstances that brought about his presence there are never looked into. You know, and courtroom closed and justice is at an end as far as they're concerned at 4 o'clock.
But there have been
some major problem, you know. Let us not behave like the bury our head in the sand.
Yes.
I was a bit surprised that Cabinet was to have discussed crime on Monday, and the news that came out is that it was postponed because the minister. Oh yes, the minister wasn't there. Wasn't here. Security.
He's discussing cricket.
In Trinidad. That must be a bad report. I'm sure that could not be the truth. That could not be the truth. That report should be corrected.
Well, it hasn't been denied.
Cricket, when we are having this pressing problem of crime.
Yes, it's not been denied.
Well, I imagine they will in due course. You know.
But there have been cases, Mr. Phipps.
Yes.
That have either not come to trial. They linger and linger and linger and linger and then.
Yes.
Eh?
And then it is just adjourned, sign a die, or
all them kind of things. Right?
Or you know, there's a decision too that after a long delay, part-heard cases, the higher courts have said, the judges can't remember what was said,
yes,
the demeanor of the witnesses.
Yes.
So you might have some injustice there.
Yes, indeed.
I remember years ago you did an article about a judge in St. Thomas who lost his memory. I think that's what you wrote. Because the judge, when the case came up for a decision, he says he can't remember much about it. You did an article on it.
I beg your pardon?
You wrote an article about it.
I did?
Yes, about a case in St. Thomas many years ago.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
About delays, you see?
Yes.
Delays.
May I ask you to hold for a moment? Okay, thank you very much. We're back here with you, sir.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Phipps, do you think it could reasonably be said that justice was manifestly and undoubtedly seen to be done in the Kroll case?
Well, the jury found the people not guilty.
The jury found them not guilty.
From that point of view. But then the important point is what was put before the court.
Yes.
One has got to consider what was put. If you say that what was available to the prosecution to put before the court was insufficient or inadequate, then just
the evidence that was put before the court seemed pretty powerful to me. And not only that, there was evidence given by policemen of a gun obtained, taken to Kroll, and what they call it, a sweetie.
Yeah.
And dropped at the scene of the crime.
A throwaway gun, they call it somewhere.
I beg your pardon, sir?
I've heard it referred to as a throwaway gun.
A throwaway gun?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
That evidence was given by policemen?
Yes.
Am I right?
The jury must have had good reasons for acquitting, or rather the prosecution in the jury's assessment did not have enough for a conviction. But you see, Mutty,
but is that the kind of decision that inspires confidence?
Well, in the system.
In the system.
Well, this is what I wanted to raise with you. Take, for example, a crime.
I'm not hearing you very clearly.
Take, for example, a crime is committed in the depressed areas of the city or a town, for example.
Yes.
Why is there reluctance on the part of witnesses to speak to the police?
Well,
it is because they don't believe that justice can be had. They don't believe that they are a part of a system that demands justice for everybody.
Right.
They
don't trust the police.
Similarly, why jurors don't come to court. They probably believe it's a waste of their time. They don't regard themselves as being a part of a system that has to address a serious problem.
Yes, but may I point out something to you?
Yes.
That in these inner city areas where a crime is committed and people refuse to cooperate with the police, that isn't an end of the matter. Because if people do not think that they can rely upon the justice system,
quite so, that's the point.
They create their own systems, which imply going outside the framework of law.
Quite so.
Right? And that encourages the crime that we're all complaining about.
Further crime, more serious crime,
absolutely.
So. This is the point that we try to make, some system of inclusiveness.
Yes.
Justice cannot be administered if it excludes those who are affected.
Yes, and if we forget the particular case and go to the general, if people do not have confidence in the justice system, that leads to a lack of respect for law, right?
And anarchy ultimately.
And it leads to anarchy.
Precisely.
Yes.
Precisely. That's why the justice remarked that the court is the last bastion against anarchy in the country.
Yes.
It's relevant.
Absolutely.
But then it is not exactly true if you consider the way the courts function.
Well,
in that they are not really including the concerns of the people of the inner city.
Yes, but if the courts are to be the last bastion of against anarchy, right? And given what we see going on in Jamaica, Are the courts functioning adequately in that respect?
No, it cannot
Are
be.
they fulfilling that purpose?
Cannot be. It is outside the reach of the wig and gown, as we say.
Yes.
And this is why the review system. You know that Farquharson asked to have an input at their review, and we got a polite put down. Almost at the end of the review,
Yes.
they'll get in touch with us. You don't call us, we will call you, type of thing.
Yes.
At the end of it, the point we wish to make is you're starting on the wrong leg. Putting the wrong foot forward. You
Yes.
need to get down into the ghetto and find the concern. I'm saying this so often that I apologize for it. And then the problem sometimes is a social and economic problem in the ghetto,
Yes.
That has to be addressed.
Yes.
Because that breeds criminality,
That too, yes, it does.
You can't just...
But there are so many forces, sir, pushing people in this country into crime.
Yes.
That the wonder is not that there is so much crime, but that there is not more of it.
Quite so. And you can't control it by, you might have the most beautiful courthouses
Yes.
with marble.
Yes.
And you'll have more marble than justice.
What you have to do is deliver justice.
Yes.
Right?
For whom? For everybody.
For everybody.
But where it is most needed.
Right?
Where's the cry? Where do you hear the cry of injustice most loud?
It is coming from those people down in the areas where there is so much crime.
Right. And you need to deal with that first and foremost. That's the point we try to make.
Absolutely, sir. This country is not going to find stability without justice.
Yes.
And it's not just justice in my view or justice in your view or in the judge's view. It is justice in the view of those people looking on who are suffering or have to live with the consequences of what is called justice.
That's why if I had the right to nominate, I nominated them to be the persons of the year 2006 for what they have suffered.
Yes.
The way they have had to live.
Yes. Absolutely.
Eke out an existence and to sleep. Well, I don't know if they sleep at nights, but the gunshots that they have to hear and the children terrified and have to go to school next day. I mean, we cannot continue like this.
No, but Mr. Phipps.
And you can't ignore it and just go and fix courthouse.
We hear so much about corruption in the police force. Right? Now, my own view is that it's not just corruption in the police force. Because if there were not corruption at other and higher levels, corruption would not have lived and have spread in the police force as much as it is supposed to have done.
Definitely.
Right? But we hear about that. And yet, these policemen who are corrupt, or so it is thought, even by the Commissioner of Police, are given heavy arms to go out there. They use those guns. They say the man pointed a gun at them, and they responded, they fired, and the man fled, and his body was later found suffering from gunshot wounds, and whatever was taken up from him, and all this kind of thing.
Yes.
Right? And it is like a constant recitation.
Yes.
Right? The same words are used over and over and over.
This is why we ask the arrival of the police, is it the beginning of justice or the end of justice?
Absolutely. Right?
We ask that question. And they have to go through that state of uncertainty.
Yes.
But I also sympathize with the police who are facing possible death.
Oh God, of course. Yes. And I'm not by any means suggesting that the police are all corrupt.
No.
Right? But the fact is that there is, on what we have been told by others, including 2 commissioners of police and the Prime Minister, right, that there is so much corruption, and yet the government of Jamaica has not seen fit to create an investigative arm in which people can have confidence in that they're not manned by policemen, right? And ensure that when somebody is shot by the police, that unit goes immediately
Yes.
into operation.
Yes.
Takes charge of the scene, takes charge of the investigation, right? And if the evidence is against the police, the matter goes to the court.
Yes, probably that's why the gentleman to be brought from England that's probably what he's going to look into.
I'm not hearing you.
They say that a gentleman is coming from England, another policeman, to help with corruption in the police force. Maybe he'll look into that aspect of it. But dealing with corruption generally, Mutty, it taints the giver as much as the receiver.
Yes.
You know? It isn't just you mentioned the police. It isn't only the dishonest policeman who takes an improper reward for not doing his job. But the person who gives that reward too.
Yes.
You know, that's where you must try to get at that too.
But absolutely. But the point is this.
Involved in that. How many of us who will stand up one day and say, this is enough? I'm not doing it. Did I ever tell you about the lady who was stopped on the Bogwalk Road there and for speeding? And when she gave her tale of woe to the police officer, right? The policeman said, well, what he can do for us? Oh, she said, yes, call your friend from across the road. And when the friend came across the road, she put her hands on both her heads and said, may the Lord bless and keep both of you. That is what she could do for them, is to offer them a word of prayer. He was expecting a monetary reward.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, Mr. Phipps, somebody is stopped by a policeman.
Yes.
The policeman says, right or left, right? Which is to say,
right or left? Right or left?
Right or left, yes. Am I to write the ticket, or are you going to left something?
Oh, I never heard that.
Yes, ma'am.
I never heard that.
Hold on just a moment for me. Okay, thank you very much. We're back with you, sir.
Yes.
Yes, so the policeman says right or left.
Yes.
Okay. You are an honest man.
Yes.
So you say, write whatever you want to write. And the policeman gives you a ticket, and the fine on the ticket is, let us say, $10,000. So you take the ticket and you go to court. You decide you're not going to pay it, you're not guilty, you're going to court. You go to court, you plead not guilty, and you're given a date. You go back on that date, you're given another date. You go back on that other date, and you're given yet another date.
Yes.
And you keep on going like that.
Yes.
Right? And then eventually the matter is tried and you're found guilty, and you are called upon to pay some fine. Probably in excess of the $10,000. Right? Now, when a person looks at all of that, though,
yes,
right? What is it? Let me tell you something.
Take the easier way out. You take the easier way.
Let me tell you something.
Take the easier way out. You take the easier way out.
Looked at from, what is it? Let me tell you something.
Take the easier way out. You take the easier way out.
Looked at from a sociological perspective, right? Values and morals are more than just, things that they have a functional utility, right? If you behave in accordance with the moral principles in your society, then you reap certain benefits from so doing.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
But if you find yourself in a society that is preaching certain values, but not really respecting them, right? There is no utility in behaving in those ways.
And there's no point in playing by the rules.
No point in playing by the rules.
Yes.
Because it is the man who plays by those rules
yes.
that is going to be shafted.
Ultimately, yes.
Then what What is the intelligent thing to do?
We had a visitor over the holidays who visited some of the courts, and who pointed out that the person is accused of an offense and goes to court, and you hear the prosecution not ready.
Yeah.
And in other countries, they throw out the case right away.
Oh, is that so?
Right away. You don't wait. I mean, the witness is a police witness not there, throw it out. The prosecutor not there, throw it out.
Yes.
And another thing I discussed with somebody else is punctuality. Why people in this country can't be on time for anything. I hope our new Governor General will make it his resolution to set the example. I'm not saying that he has been late for anything.
Yes.
But to demand punctuality over the entire nation.
Yes.
That people must be on time for whatever occasion they're supposed to be present.
Indeed. There's another point, Mr. Phipps. Fingerprints and DNA evidence.
Yes.
Right? It seems to me a thing to be dreaded for one's fingerprints to be in the possession of a corrupt a corrupt police force to have access to one's fingerprints. Because
great risk there, eh?
Yes, I should have thought that if the police want to take my fingerprints to see whether it was I who did whatever was done in that place, right? That what they should do is, what they should be required to do is to present to me and my lawyer a copy of the fingerprints that were found at the location before they take my prints.
Yes.
Am I right?
Oh, definitely.
Similarly with DNA material.
There should be 3 samples. One that they are going to examine, one that is stored somewhere, and one that is given to the person who might be affected.
Yes.
Yeah. That's not difficult.
No, because all that they can do is take my fingerprints now from the source, the national whatever it is, and then say, yes, this is what we found there.
Yes.
Right? Make 2 copies and say, this is the copy. This copy is what we found there, and this other one is what we got from you.
Yes.
Right? And they match.
Yes, that is open.
Like the blood samples.
That's open to abuse if not dealt with integrity.
Absolutely. But then you see, part of the problem, all of this ultimately stems from the fact that we talk about governing ourselves, but we haven't really sat down and defined what we mean by governing.
Quite so.
That is the problem.
Quite so. Well, the Attorney General is going to speak on this on Friday, constitutional reform and the review of the justice system.
Yes.
I noticed that the papers have, the Minister of Information promised us that on Friday. That should be an interesting debate.
Well, I should like to hear, I hope that one of the problems that I have, and I don't know whether the Attorney General is in this thing, but when I look at what we have for a constitution of Jamaica.
Oh, that's another point, isn't it? Yes.
Right. And when I think of a distinguished lawyer like Norman Manley, who clearly had no idea what a constitution was about.
Well, I don't know if I can go that far. You see, we have attempted to put in writing what is practiced at Westminster in England.
What is what?
Practice at Westminster in England.
Yes.
And they haven't got it written down.
Yes.
You know, and new occasions teach new duties.
But, Mr. Phipps,
everything in our fundamental rights is, unless there is a law, subject to a law or something like that.
Yes.
You know, which waters down the constitutional protection.
Yes, but Westminster, at Westminster, they have a democratic government which evolved out of an aristocratic tradition.
Yes.
And still relies very heavily upon conventions drawn from that aristocratic tradition.
Yes.
Right? Now, that isn't what we were having in Jamaica, was it? Right? And the Norman Manleys should have recognized this. Right? And they should have looked at the example of the American Constitution.
Why are you picking on Norman Manley? Excellent Norman Manley alone.
Well, because Norman Manley was an outstanding lawyer.
Well, okay.
Right?
Okay.
So if Bustamante didn't know what was the function of a constitution, right? I wouldn't hold that too heavily against him, although maybe he could have taken advice from persons who knew if he could.
Well, why don't you get some of those who were involved in drafting the Constitution who are still alive? Why don't you get both of them from both sides of the political?
Yes, well, if you,
I think the Honorable Right Excellent Edward Seaga was there, and so was Honorable David Corr.
But David Corr clearly didn't understand.
Well, get them on the program and let them explain to the people of this country.
Not in a democratic situation. Right? Because he thought that to give the people justiciable rights would derogate from the sovereignty of Parliament.
Yes, that is nonsense. That is complete and unacceptable
rubbish. Right?
Anyway, Mutty, I hope that the review board will consider starting down where injustice is practiced and justice is practiced.
But Mr. Phipps, the first thing that we need to do is to define government. What is government about?
Yes.
What is its purpose?
And the constraints on the government.
And precisely.
On the governors.
I cannot think of a better definition than that given by Thomas Jefferson in the Declaration of Independence of the United States.
Will you repeat it for us?
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, among them the right to life, to liberty, and to the pursuit of happiness.
Yes. And
that it is to secure these rights that governments are instituted among men. Now, when you look at what is happening in Jamaica, right, is government guaranteeing the rights of the people to life?
Well, hold on there now, Mutty. With that noble declaration, which you said was Jefferson's,
yes,
that all men are created equal.
Yes.
But that wasn't practiced in the United States. It still is not, to a great extent.
But hold on.
So it is a question of who is carrying out these noble objectives.
Yes, but I tell you, sir.
Yes.
Jefferson and Madison, his friend, Madison was also involved in the creation of the Constitution.
Yes.
They were both slave owners.
That's the point I'm making.
Right, hold on. But they both agreed in correspondence, a copy of which I have, that slavery was inconsistent with the Constitution.
Accepted.
And would have to go.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And that the transformation was not immediate. Right?
That one of them was sleeping with a slave girl too?
Jefferson.
And had children, right? She had children by her.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
But the thing is this, that
whatever constitution you have, ultimately, it's the people who are going to administer it.
Yes, sir.
That is very, very important.
Yes,
who must have a feeling for justice rather than a technical knowledge.
Yes, but the point that I'm making is that even after the abolition of slavery, right, there were rights of which black people were deprived in the United States.
Quite so.
But there have been changes since then too. Yes. I'm not telling you that they've reached anywhere near perfection.
Yes.
But there have been significant changes.
Oh, definitely.
And all of those changes have come about as a result of, by way of reference to the very Constitution.
Yes.
That these men had a hand in shaping.
Yes, I agree.
So if we have the Constitution, then we can always appeal to it where we feel that injustice is being done.
That should be available. We should have access to the process that can bring about the implementation of those conditions
Absolutely.
in the Constitution. Yes. Yes, I agree, sir. All right,
Mutty, sir. Thank you very much. All the best to you. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes, sir, good morning to you.
Yes, good morning, sir. I'm calling from work. Yes. I used to call it very regular. But since I'm here...
Where are you calling from now?
4 years now, but...
Where are you calling from now?
I'm from the U.S.
From the U.S.?
New York.
Ah, boy, you must be freezing.
I'm trying to come back home, you know.
Yeah, beg your pardon?
I'm in school now, that's the reason I'm not here at the moment.
Oh, you're in school?
Yes.
And you've been frozen out of the school?
I'm dying to come back home.
You're dying to come back home?
As soon as I finish school, I start in school, I'll be there.
I see. At when?
As soon as I finish school, I'll be there.
When is that likely to be?
Then June.
In June this year?
Yes.
Are you sure? Are you sure
yes,
that...
I'm coming back there, man.
Are you sure that you're coming back immediately?
I can't live until June? Yeah, that's what I heard is part, you know.
All right, sir.
But I'm coming on June. Because I need to come and fix some things here.
Yes.
Like I need to be a crusader like you, you know, but I'm going to be a crusader for education.
For education?
Yeah, that's why I'm getting some skill now to come back home.
Yes. We definitely need some crusaders for education, sir.
Yeah, because...
But I tell you something. To crusade in favor of education, you have to crusade against other things. Because...
Yes, of course.
I find it difficult to accept that the appalling state of our educational facilities and, you know, I find it difficult to accept that it is accidental.
And difficult to accept what is their mandate? I mean, there's not only to accept.
So the way the politics of this country is conducted could not work if the population were highly educated. I beg your pardon?
Not only politics, but the religion there.
Yes.
There, you know.
Yes.
It was what's called the religion.
Okay. So people are being left uneducated in order to make them more exploitable.
Because, you're going to tell people not to read the Bible. And, probably 30% of more population cannot read. What are they going to do about God? And we have so many churches.
Would you speak more directly into the mouthpiece for me?
Yes, I said, all the church can tell people that they must read the Bible.
Yes.
When about approximately 30% of the population cannot read.
Yes, fine. True.
You know?
True.
And we have so many churches. And what we have in our education system are people who manage our education system. They are really dinosaurs. Because, with the technology around today in this present world, like the internet and the computers, Jamaica is a small place. The university can put up some servers and, can serve the whole Jamaica and the whole country. Do they do that?
Well, I don't know, sir, but there are a lot of problems associated with that too.
We don't need any extra money, We have the resource there.
Yes.
All I'm saying, the resources that manage it properly to serve everybody.
I see.
Like we need a lot of money to educate people. We have resources there. Because, look at our school system, our classrooms. We use a classroom about probably 8 hours a day.
Yes.
But we can have when the children move out of the school system, they are not moving in the afternoon.
Yes, but I tell you something, you see. We have not made education into a goal that everybody hankers after, right? We haven't created in the society. We haven't put a value upon education. And people don't have a sense, which they had in the old days, you know. There are many successful, highly successful people in Jamaica today, persons, right? People with degrees and professions and all this kind of thing, that if you met their father, right, and presented him with a copy of the letter A, as big as that would occupy the front page, the whole of the front page of a newspaper, he wouldn't know what the devil it was, right?
Yes.
And yet that man struggled on a little 2-acre land on some hillside, right? And worked hard, raised a little money, right? Sent his son to school, made sure the boy got to school and, you know, kept on and studying and so on. And the boy eventually came out to be a man with a high education, a degree and whatever, profession, right? Earned a good living and so on, right? Because in those days, education was seen as the means of achieving that kind of familial transformation, right? It is not seen as such these days, I don't think, not by large numbers of people. The thing to do is to get...
Remember the churches were involved
yes.
in those days.
Yes.
Today the pastors of the churches there now, they have some of the best and biggest churches in Jamaica now. And they probably open a church about 24 hours for the week. And all the open church are now is to collect the collection.
Yes.
They're not involved with the community anymore. Because they turn over all these social services to the government.
Yes. But you know, one of the big mistakes was made earlier on was by Mr. Glasspool and Mr. Allen, right?
So?
Glasspool, he was Minister of Education when they came in.
Okay.
When they came in with this scholarship thing, right? To send children, to give access to the children of the poor to secondary schools, right? So they set up this scholarship. And when the first scholarship exams were done, among the children who won scholarships were the Governor General's children and the then Premier, Norman Manley's granddaughter, right?
Okay.
And it was noticed by Edwin Allen that the majority of the children winning the scholarships were coming from homes of parents, with parents who could have paid their secondary schooling. They weren't enabled to go to secondary schools because of the scholarships. In fact, there were children who hadn't gone to the elementary schools, but to prep schools, where the parents had to pay for them. And that is because the elementary schools had been allowed to deteriorate over the years, right? And so Edwin Allen changed it to 70-30, right? He was going to stuff 70% of the children going to the secondary schools would be from primary schools, from the primary schools. However well they had been able to do in exams, right?
Okay.
And that began a process.
I'm doing a course now in computer networking.
Yes.
And I hope when I get back there, Mr. Powell,
yes,
to give me the resource that he has given to NetServe, that I can, have my crusade on education.
I see. All right,
because just giving,
I hope you find...
I use the resource that they have in Jamaica fully.
Yes.
And then that is because if we want to address the social ills in Jamaica, that's one idea we can start, by making sure that especially the young children
Yes.
have good environment to go to school.
Yes.
Right, we can socialize them properly.
Yes.
You know?
Uh-huh.
And so all the problems we have been talking about the crime and the this and that and whatever. You know? Because this condition that we're going to put children in. What do we expect?
Yes, well, quite true.
What do we expect? Because this is what we teach them. This is what they live on a daily basis.
Uh-huh.
So what do you expect them to come and do?
Absolutely.
So are we going to do import more policemen to shoot them down? Is that a solution? You know, is that something that our prime minister and our great leaders that we have back there, I think that leaders think? Eh?
Well, we still have Mr. Renito Adams, whom we can call out to deal with them, you know. In fact, there have been calls for his return to frontline duty.
So I think them import from the US to come and shoot them down because, I mean, the problem is going to get worse based on what I see going on there.
Yes, yes.
You know?
Yes, well.
And to the start, to the preventive, I take the preventive aspect of the problem.
Yes.
You know? And we always have people like you talking about it.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Yes.
And you're doing a good work, you know. I appreciate what you're doing. I mean, I was there always calling and listening to you on a daily basis.
Uh-huh.
Even now I still listen to you, and I try to connect others to the program.
Yes.
So I tried to look at computer repair before I finish left the home. I tune in 13 lines, you know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Look forward to seeing you in June. All right? Oh, he's gone. Okay, we take a break. We come back shortly. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
Hello, good morning, sir.
Morning, sir. How are you?
Not too bad, sir. Sir Perkins, I want to ask you this question. Which country is the strongest democracy in the world?
Which country?
At this present time is the strongest democracy.
Which do you think?
I'm just asking a question, sir.
Yes, I know. I'm asking you one too.
Okay, I say India for one of those.
You take what?
India and United States. Am I right?
India and the United States.
Yes.
All right.
It's one of the strongest democracies in the world. Am I right?
Well, the United States is a strong democracy, yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. India.
Were you saying that to Mr. Perkins?
Eh?
You was talking to Mr. Fix about few minutes ago.
About what?
You was talking to Mr. Fix.
Yes, couple of minutes ago, few minutes ago.
And you was talking about, for instance, the normal situation when it drops up the Constitution.
That I was talking about what?
You was talking about Norman Manley and Mr. Glasspool and those persons during that in those days.
Well, I don't think I mentioned Mr. Glasspool in that context.
Okay, sorry about that. But what the point I'm making is that when Americans dropped their Constitution in those years, don't Mr. Bush eliminate some of them? He bypassed them?
Eliminate some of what?
Well, you know what I'm saying? Mr. Bush, President Bush. There's a country of a law, am I right?
Yes.
But Mr. Bush bypassed some of them, am I right?
Bypassed like which?
Okay. The President of the United States of America. I heard it on the BBC and CNN. Where that some of the law, Mr. Bush break it. You understand what I'm saying?
Like which ones?
Okay, which one of those? One is that he should have, when he invade Iraq, for example, he go to United Nations, and him and Mr. Powell tell a lie. Because one of the main things in America, what is tell a lie? They intend to impeach her.
Yeah, what?
Once it becomes President of the United States of America, and as President, you tell a lie, the Congress can impeach you, am I right, sir?
I suppose so, sir.
Yes, remember Clinton? With Monica Lewinsky? Remember with Mr. Clinton? President Clinton? when he have a relationship with
Yes. But, Mr. Bush, okay, all right, but the question is, the issue is that he was not impeached.
No, it don't impeach, but they tell lie, isn't it?
Well, let us say that he did, right? But the fact of the matter is that you can commit murder anywhere in the world. Murder is against the law in most countries, in Jamaica, in the United States, and in Britain. But if you commit murder and the authorities do not take the appropriate steps to deal with you, then you're going to break the law, but you're going to get away. Right?
That's true.
So it isn't a failure of the American Constitution. That has enabled, assuming that it is a constitutional breach, right? It would not be the failure of the Constitution that has allowed that breach. It's a failure to take action under the Constitution.
Well, that's true. Because what you were saying is that, for instance, now, like in Jamaica now, if a person were to do, so you're talking about corruption, so to speak. In Jamaica, if a person finds himself in difficulty, they will resign.
If they find themselves
in difficulty, or breach the law, you have to force them to resign.
In Jamaica?
Yeah.
How many times? How often has that happened?
Well, not often, but I would say Jamaica and in the Caribbean as well. Most Caribbean countries and African countries.
There have been far more breaches of law by persons in positions of authority in this country than there have been resignations.
But I feel like there are not many. There's not many. There's just a few.
Anyway, what's the point that you want to make?
The point I'm making is that, Mr. Perkins, is that if tomorrow morning, you put on pressure, you're saying about Norman Marley, is that, when Mr. Fisk spoke to you about Norman Marley, you don't want to hear about Norman Marley. It's not Mr. Marley alone who
I don't want to hear about Norman Marley.
No, he said, that is my view, when Norman Marley, during those days, and Mr. Serra, and Glasgow and those persons dropped the Jamaica's constitution, right? I mean, you cannot blame the person who's alive today. You call Mr. Serra and call Mr. David Core. I think it is right for both of them to come on your program.
Look here, No. You can make historical judgments, right? You can make judgments about the actions of Alexander the Great or Julius Caesar or whomever, right? And make comments on them. And the fact that Norman Manley is dead doesn't say that one can't make judgments as to the way he acted.
But I don't think it's Norman Manley alone, Mr. Perkins.
Well, it's not a matter of Norman Manley alone. I'm saying, sir, that Norman Manley was a distinguished lawyer.
That's true.
And one might have expected that he would have had a better understanding of what a constitution was about than is evident in the document that he left behind. And remember, at the time that the constitution was created, Norman Manley was the head of government in Jamaica.
Well, I don't know if that really.
I am telling you that, sir, and the People's National Party had a majority in Parliament.
During that time?
When the Constitution was created, yes. Right? Remember the People's National Party was in office from 1955 to 1962, no?
Oh, yes.
I beg your pardon?
Yes. You're right.
The Labour Party came to office in 62, after independence. And, well, hold on, was it after independence or I think it was before independence. But they came in upon the new constitution. They came in. I can't remember the exact. But the constitution was created during the time that Norman Manley was premier. And he was an outstanding lawyer.
Yes,
right? And one might have expected him to, for example, a constitution is primarily a law constraining government. Am I right?
Yes, you're right.
Yes. In the way that the ordinary laws constrain individual action. Right? No, for a constitution to include provisions that the government can change by simple majority is absurd.
Well, in that circumstance.
I beg your pardon?
What you're saying, what you're saying, I do agree with you with that.
You do agree?
Yes.
Yes. Now, for Norman Mann, an outstanding lawyer, to be party to the and to be party to the putting into a constitution of provisions that the government can change anytime it's ready, right, is nonsense. And it demeans the Constitution. There is no provision of the American Constitution that either the Congress or Mr. Bush can change like that.
Well, that's true. But can I ask you this
question? No, the two of them together.
Can I ask you this question?
Yes.
That is a good point to make. Just for instance, a president of the United States can come for you in
what?
A president of the United States can invade a country and call you a leader, for instance.
Yes.
You think that possibly President Bush can go to the war crime?
Well,
I'm saying to you, based on what took place throughout the world right now, or should I say Iraq, taking the aid and give him a fair trial. Is that possible?
Well, I think that they would have to be prepared to go to war with the United States. Right?
Yeah.
Because the American government has not accepted has not accepted that America would be answerable under that kind of those international laws. Right?
They are so powerful.
They are so powerful.
That is true.
Right?
So, Perkins, my second point. People are saying that you're a little bit unfair.
That I'm unfair?
You're a little bit unfair. Why they say that is that every morning they get and you talk about politics.
Talk about what?
Every day on your program. There's no day since it becomes a talk show host. Well, I don't know about that. You're talking about you was working every day in Jamaica. I don't know if that. In the early days, I don't know if that. I heard on your program about that. But they are saying that if Mr. Bruce Cullen loses the next election, you have to resign. Your post at 4106 because for many years you're campaigning for the Jamaica Labour Party. You said that, and this time around, if the JLP lost the election, you'd have cost the JLP to lose.
Oh, yes?
Yes, they said that. Many persons with whom I spoke with.
Hold on just a moment for me. Okay, thank you very much. I'm back here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you're saying I'm being unfair.
No, people saying that.
That I'm being unfair.
Yes. Person who would like to vote, for instance, for the Jamaica Labour Party, and person who support the party. I'm not talking about person. I'm talking about person who well educated and person good business. They're saying change the topic. Just for 17 years you keep on with the same old thing, and the people don't listen to you. That's what I'm saying. And the PNP keep on winning the election.
Yes.
Just change the topic
so people are not listening to this program.
No, they listen to you
because they are bored. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's not. We say to the Perkins. I'm calling from St. Mary's, aware of that.
Yes.
But, I am on the ground. And they say, Mr. Perkins, could just change the topic sometime.
What topic?
In other words, each time, every day at first time, you'd have called KD Knight name, you would have called the Prime Minister nicknames for PJ Patterson and various things. You understand? You say, what? You just try to change the topic. Let Mr. Golden feel good and look good within the JLP. But you say that person was saying to me, more than one person, that is that every day you get up, you just feel one thing and it's all.
Every day I get up, I'm doing what?
You're talking about like the police force, which they know about that.
The police force, yes. What else?
Pardon me?
What else?
The economy is bad.
The economy is bad, yes.
Road is bad. People
the road is bad, yes.
Yes. And there's no water supply.
Yes.
And many other things.
And many other things.
Yes.
But I thought you said that every day I got up, I was on the same topic.
It's not me say it.
No.
You get up.
But hold on. Hold on.
Yeah.
Every day I get up, I'm on the same topic. Right? To the point where people are bored. But then you say that I'm talking about the police, and I'm talking about the roads, and I'm talking about the water supplies, and I'm talking about a whole number of other things. But that is the same topic. What rubbish are you talking?
When you see, you're not an easy man.
I'm not a what?
You're not an easy man. Whenever you want to try to twist some, I heard Mrs. Startler was talking there recently. Anytime you try to embarrass someone, you intend to laugh. You understand? A person, I don't see an Englishman. I was born in Jamaica and went to Great Britain. I was talking to you. You intend to try to do something to make the people laugh. You must stop that, Mr. Perkins.
Stop what? Stop laughing.
Pardon me?
Stop laughing.
No, it's not much that you're laughing after the person. It's like the person is a fool.
Well,
you understand what I'm saying? Mr. Perkins, he's a highly educated man. No question about that.
Who is?
Wilmot Perkins. Mr. Wilmot Perkins is a highly educated man.
I don't know about that.
You're not a fool.
I haven't got a PhD.
You don't have to have a PhD, Mr. Perkins.
Oh, you don't? I see.
Mr. Perkins, you don't have to have a PhD.
But you know, sir, let me tell you something, you see. On this program, when I say things on this program, if you want to criticize them, feel free, right? But when you come here, I expect you to tell me what I said that was not true.
Can I speak of him?
Hold on. I expect you to tell me what was it that I said that was not true, or what argument I put forward that was not valid. Right? Don't tell me that I am campaigning for a party.
No, Mr. Perkins, don't put word into my mouth. I'm saying
but that is what you said.
Pardon me?
That is what you said. That I'm campaigning for the JLP.
I am on the ground and people are saying that. It's not set up and said you are campaigning, Mr. Perkins.
But you obviously agree with them.
Mr. Perkins, I said to them, sometimes I do agree with some of what they are saying. For instance, like the member of the security force with the controversial shooting at times. You understand that?
Yes.
I said that. But you're just putting a word into my mouth, Mr. Perkins. That is unfair to me, sir.
But I thought that you agreed with this, that I'm here campaigning for a party.
Mr. Perkins, I did not say. People on the ground are saying that. It's not me saying, Mr. Perkins.
People on the ground are saying that.
Yes.
So why are you coming here to tell me that unless you agree with it?
I said I agree with some of what you have said on the airwaves. But
no, I'm not talking about what I said on the airgrave. I'm talking about what you say that the people are saying. That I'm here campaigning. I am here campaigning for the Labour Party. Right? Hold on a minute. You have never heard me criticize the Labour Party?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
You didn't hear me criticize what they were saying in Parliament yesterday, this morning.
Mr. Perkins,
yes,
I heard you criticize.
Did you hear me criticize what they were saying in Parliament yesterday?
Yes, sir. And I heard you criticize.
And you hear me criticizing the PNP?
And I've heard you criticize the former Prime Minister Edward Seaga.
Yes.
Yes. You criticize Mr. Golden when he was in the NDM as well.
And you never heard me criticize anything that Mr. Golding has said?
Yes, I do.
So what is the problem?
So people on the ground are saying that change the topic a bit.
Yes, but I tell you something, sir. People who are PNP, right? And who cannot fault any statement that I make or a statement that I make or an argument that I present will dismiss it by saying this is a common occurrence that in this Labour support Labour Party, right? But a person, whether he's Labour or PNP, who can fault an argument or can refute a fact, will do that.
Can I answer this question, Mr.
Right?
Perkins?
No, I don't hear you refuting any statement that I made.
Can I answer this question, Mr. Perkins?
Yes, go ahead, man.
Okay, your program run different from independent with Mr.
It runs what? Differently?
Yeah, what I'm saying to you, there's no way you can compare Mr. Twitch's program, run into his program, and be a certain way. There's no way Mr. Twitch is going to allow with that. Because Mr. Bowling...
There's no... come again. There's no way
what
that...
I'm saying to you, it's a...
Speak up. Lift your voice.
Okay. Much better now? Just like our friends, you have McCady Knight, Bruce Wolin, Edward Seaga, Madam Sabbath in a cross. You cannot do it on Mr. Twitch's program.
Yes.
You cannot do it at line. Miss Bludan would never make sure if you Wilmot Perkins come and say, Miss Bludan, PJ Patterson is a dangerous man. The first thing is so long. Go somewhere else with that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So the point I'm making is that any person, whether JP or PNP, can go on Mr. Twitch's program and, say things balancedly. And that's what I'm saying. There's no way can cost Mr. Seaga no person on his program. Are you aware of that?
On Mr. Twitch's program?
No. Put out policies, Mr. Twitch. Mr. Perkins, put out it. There's a person within the PNP and the JFP come on his program. And they don't tolerate that, Mr. Perkins. Are you aware of that, don't it?
I am not clear what it is that you're saying.
Yeah,
that Mr. Thwaites will not tolerate anybody coming onto his program to say things that are critical of whom?
Look here, Mr. Perkins. Just like how you would have said George Boy and give a person a nickname, there's no way you could have go and run into his program. He's not going to allow you to do that.
To do what?
You would have called up a gentleman by the name of George Boy.
George who?
Boy. You remember this gentleman named George Boy?
Nicknames.
George Boy. He would have called Katie Knight and Vera Stem and Peter Phillips. I don't know.
Dr. Whom? Yes.
Yes, you can have
Mr. Thwaites would not allow that on his program.
No.
Well, but there are possibly things that Mr. Thwaites. There are possibly things that Mr. Thwaites would allow on his program that I would not allow on this one. I don't know.
Sir. No. Remember, away from politics, we all know that you're a member of the
Look here. I am not here to tell Mr. Thwaites how to run his program. Nor is Mr. Thwaites there to tell me how to run this one.
That's
right?
true. That is true.
And listeners have the right of choice.
Yes,
they can listen or not listen.
What you're saying is true. Right? Because, put it this way, when Mr. Lingwood work, well, I know that he is sick. When he's running his program, he runs his program.
Yes.
But then again, when he say, pies him out, you intend to come around and then mock him a bit. Am I right?
If people say things that I find funny, I will laugh at them, yes.
No, I understand, when you laugh, sometimes you want to get a little fresh air, you have laugh. But when for instance, I know Mr. Link program started, right? And a person said, you would have seen some of them being on yard.
Don't come here spending a lot of time on foolish talk about other programs. I'm not interested in that. I mean, I don't think that people who want to listen to these programs, listen to them. People don't.
That's true.
There are a lot of issues of public importance to be discussed.
Final and briefly, sir. Final and briefly. Mr. Derek Smith, if a JLP government becomes, if a JLP were to win the election anytime, I wanted to know from now, Mr. Perkins, is that if the police force is going to, I don't want it from you now, I want him on your program, because if what the police, what you're saying is, for instance, a person got shot this morning, two gentlemen was killed.
Yes.
I want to know what if the Commissioner of Police or the Minister of National Security is going to have an independent person to have an investigate. Because when a person investigates something, Mr. Perkins, sometimes about 2 years, don't hear about it. And for instance, like Mr. Bacchus.
Look here, I'm afraid I have to leave you at this point, eh? It's time for the news. Okay? Sorry about that. Okay, we'll be back here in about 20 minutes. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online, and let's go directly to our telephone. Incidentally, before we go to the telephone, that Contractor General's report about that lady, Miss Barbara Clark. Yes, she's chairman of the. No, it's in the Petroleum Corporation. It's can't remember. But they are saying that at the time that she received these contracts, she was not the chairman. It was after the contracts had been done, had been signed and exhausted almost, I believe, that she became the chairman, or whatever it is that she became. That is what is now being said. There was something about it in the news. So I don't know that before we go too far with it, we need to look into all those aspects of the problem. Okay, hello? Hello?
Yeah, Mr. Perkins?
Yes, good morning. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. How are you, sir?
Oh, not too bad. How are you?
Good. I'm having a problem,
What's that?
And before I get to it, let me just ask you a question. Do you know that you could send credit from your cell phone to others?
You can send credit?
Yes.
From your cell phone?
To other cell phones.
To other cell phones?
Yes.
No, I didn't know that.
Well, I was just thinking that maybe I'm the only person that don't know it. No,
I'm not much of a cell phone fanatic, sir.
Well, sometimes we need it. Sometimes we do.
Yes, it's not without its uses.
Okay, let me just get...
But I mean, most people, a lot of people seem to sort of brandish their cell phones, I mean. As Mr. Clark said, have two of them, one in a back pocket and one in the other one. And you take out one and call the other one and say, hello.
Well, I think I just need mine for receiving and sending out calls.
I see what you mean. Yes.
Anyway, let me just get on to my little problem. I have this problem with...
But is it true that you can send credit from one phone to another?
Pardon?
Is it true that you can send credit?
Well, that's my understanding, from Digicel. Digicel is saying that that's a service that they provide to their customer.
Oh, interesting.
But apparently, there's a lot of people in this country that don't know. Because my problem is, I found out that there's a lot of money coming off my phone.
A lot of money coming off your phone?
Yes. By people taking money from it, sending it to their phone.
How do they do that?
Actually...
So it's not only that you can send credit from one phone to another.
Right.
But you can actually take credit from somebody else's phone onto your own?
Right.
What?
So this is like news to me.
Eh?
This is news to me because, I paid my phone bill.
Yes.
Because I connect straight. And after paying my phone bill, I tried to make a call one day and realized that they borrowed my phone. So I called to find out what is happening. They're saying to me that my bill is something like over $8,000. There. So I paid my last bill. And I also sent some money to put on it because sometimes I make 1 and 2 overseas calls, So they're saying to me now that I send credit to other people's phone.
You send credit?
To other people's phone. And I'm saying to them, this is ridiculous. I didn't even know you have a service like that.
Yes.
So they are saying they inform all their customers about it. I say, well, this is one customer that don't know anything about it.
Yes.
Right? Now, the phone that I use is one of those big phones.
One of the what?
The big household-looking phone.
A big one?
Yes. Because the small one giving me problem, radiation problem. So
radiation problem?
Yes. So I use one of those big household-type looking cell phone. I operate a business, so from time to time, I would left my phone in the care of, some of the workers.
Oh.
By this now, they know about all of that, so I think that's where, my credit, take off the phone. But I'm saying to Digicel management or the supervisors, whosoever, that, listen, if I call the company just to find out how much I owe for this month, I have to give a security question and answer that I provide them with when I first.
You have to give what?
A security question and they have a security question.
Yes, if you want to find out how much you owe.
Yes.
You have to have
answer
those questions.
Question and answer that.
But apparently you're suggesting then that when it is a matter of sending credit,
right,
you don't have to answer such questions.
No.
That's very odd.
Because
hold on just a moment. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here. So, hello?
Hello.
So in what way is this matter controlled?
Pardon?
I mean, why can't I, why can't I say that you called and transferred credit, when you did no such thing?
Well, actually, what they're saying is that
I beg your pardon?
You have to text it in, and then they send you back a text to confirm it. I don't know. That's what they're saying.
How is it that they do it?
Text the information into them, and then now you
do what with it? How will you get it in?
From my understanding is that the person that requesting the transfer, you have to text it in, and they would text you back.
You text it in?
Yes.
Oh.
And then they would text you back. So what I'm saying to them,
but there is no signature. There can be no signature on that text.
That's right. So why not having a security like how they have a security question. You have to give the question and then answer it. So I'm saying no. If they need that when you ask about paying your bill, why, when sending money from your phone, you don't go through that same procedure? To me, it is unfair.
Well, it would seem to me to be a very dangerous thing, sir, because I don't know. I don't know how one could be sure at any point, if one owns one of those phones, that one isn't sending, or money is being sent in one's name somewhere. Right? I don't know.
Well, I mean, it is my belief that a whole lot of Jamaicans don't know about this. I also believe that probably the majority of the customers don't.
Well, we're trying to get hold of Digicel, right?
Yes, sir.
To hear what they have to say about it.
They are telling me I should keep my phone in my position, which I'm not saying no about that, but my phone is a big phone. I can take it everywhere I go with me. And if they're putting a service like that on your phone, they should inform you.
Yeah, well, you say you weren't informed.
No, they don't inform nobody about it, because most people, the only time when they get to find out about it is when they lose.
And let me ask you something.
Yes.
You don't use a card. You have a bill.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I don't know.
But the same thing happened to the card people. This guy was complaining about.
Well, all sorts of things seem to happen to card people. I mean, you buy a card, you put it in your phone. You make a couple of calls. There's a fair amount of credit left, and then at some point you hear that you can't use that credit. It's there too long.
Right.
To revive it, you have to buy another card.
True. True, because it happened to me as well.
Well.
But I don't think that's a service that they should just give to people without security.
Yes.
Because I heard...
Yes, there needs to be some security.
Pardon?
There needs to be...
because
you can, security. You can find yourself facing a bill of 20,000.
Absolutely. This, I heard this guy said somebody borrowed his phone to make a call. He have $5,000 credit on it. And when he got it back, it's only $500 left on it. The person removed $4,500 worth of credit. So I'm saying this service is not beneficial to customers. And people, it's a whole lot of people having this kind of problem. They still need to do something about it. Because people shouldn't be able to take your phone and remove credit like that so easy.
Yes.
They should have more rigid protection.
Yes.
And they're not even giving you satisfaction.
Okay. Hold on just a moment for the caller. We have Digicel on the line. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir?
How may I assist you?
I beg your pardon?
Can you tell me the situation so I can see how best I can assist you?
I'm not hearing at all.
Okay, can you explain the situation to me so I can see how...
Yes, but would you speak up a little louder, because I'm not hearing you very well.
Okay, are you hearing me?
Yeah, that's better. Yes.
Okay, can you explain the situation to me?
No, you've gone back to where you were. I know. Well, let me try and explain. This gentleman he's on the line, and he's telling me about a situation. He has a Digicel phone, and he doesn't buy credit cards or whatever you call them.
Okay.
He has an account, right? And he has been getting some high bills, and the explanation that is offered to him is that he has been transferring credit to other phones. You have such a service, do you? Where if I have a Digicel phone, I can phone in and transfer credit to another Digicel phone?
Well, we have several services whereby credit can be transferred from one account to another.
I'm not hearing you very well, sir.
we offer several services where credit can be.
You can't talk a little louder? Our connection seems not to be very good. You're on a cell phone?
No, I'm on a landline.
Landline.
Would you prefer if I call you back from my cell phone where the connection will be better?
I beg your pardon?
Would you prefer if I call you back from a cell phone where my connection would be better?
If you call back on a cell phone, you can't speak up a little louder.
I'm speaking very loudly right now.
Look, sir, I'm not really hearing you. But I heard you louder a while ago. Hello?
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
But you're going back down again?
I would, if you give me a number, I can call you back from my cell phone, where I'm sure the connection will be much better. But from the landline that I'm using.
Hold on. Let's have you talk to somebody in the studio, right?
No problem.
In the up, and they'll take your number and call you back.
No problem.
Okay. All right. Hello, caller.
Yes, sir.
You're still there. Just hold on. Hold on for us until we get him back. Eh?
Okay, sir.
But he has said that they do offer such a service, right?
You're right.
But
so
were you hearing him?
Yes, a little bit.
A little bit.
One and two words.
I don't know.
Mr. Perkins, I think that such service, if they're going to give it to you, they should inform you. They should let you know the good and the bad part of it. Because I am in shock when, they're telling me that I transfer credit. I said, transfer credit? I didn't even know.
I'm not hearing you now.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes, better.
I was in shock when they said I transfer credit from my phone to another. Because I didn't know that they offer such service. And I'm saying I need the numbers that those credit transfer to. And they're saying they're not giving it to me. So I'm telling them I'm not paying the bill.
Yes.
And they can take me to court.
No, you asked them for what?
The numbers that those that the credit transferred
was transferred to.
Yes, because I certainly didn't authorize it, and I didn't even know that something like that.
And they say they're not giving you the numbers.
And they refuse. So I'm saying I'm not paying the bill.
Yes.
And they could take me to court or whatever else they want to do. Fine. They could. I said you can go ahead and disconnect me now, because I'm not going to pay that bill until I get some form of satisfaction. So, they're saying this is something that it is my responsibility to protect my phone. I agree that it's my responsibility to protect my phone, but when a service like that is given to customer without informing them, then I can't see how I can protect myself from something like that.
That's something that you don't know anything about?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Seems it's like a disease out there, and if you don't know about it, for instance, the one that the mosquito carry, now you know about it, so you can actually try to eliminate the mosquitoes. But something like this, you don't know anything about, and they expect you now to protect yourself from it. I didn't know anything about it.
Apparently we're having difficulty getting him back, I don't know what is going on here.
Well.
But he doesn't seem very anxious to,
right.
to speak about this.
Well, I know if I don't get the justice.
Well, I tell you something, so if I were you, I'd be prepared to go to the Privy Council.
Well.
Right.
Mr.
I wouldn't be letting go my money like that.
No, sir. No, and a lot of people been suffering the same fate. Like if some people put on $100, somebody borrow the phone, take out $50. 30, 40. You know, I've been hearing about this since I started to complain about it. You know, and I'm saying that's unfair. You should tell people, so look, I'm going to give you this service. You want it or not? You know. So I hope the listeners, they would, you know, give their views on this.
Yes, well, apparently they're having trouble with him, you see. I mean, they've got him back, and they still can't hear him.
Oh, okay. Well, it means that maybe you don't want you to hear him because...
Well, I don't know. That was the impression I got. Because you didn't get the impression that he was speaking loud, did you?
No, because I have to be listening hard.
No, I didn't get the impression that he was really trying.
I don't know how to deal with this except refusing from pay.
If I were you, sir.
Yes, sir. Hello?
Hello? Yes, we're hearing... Hello?
Hello? Oh.
Yes? Are you there now, sir? Hello? Oh.
You're talking to me, Mr. Perkins?
Oh, I thought... was it you?
Oh,
were you saying hello a while ago?
Yes.
Oh, I see, yes.
Well, I don't know, but, I don't know if I should...
Look here, sir.
Yes, sir.
I don't think we're going to get him, eh?
Okay.
But if I were you, I think I agree with you. I wouldn't pay that bill.
Right.
Okay?
Okay, sir.
All right, all the best. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. I hope that Digicel customers have been listening to that conversation. I think it would be in their interest to have done so. At least they will now be aware of the possibility of transferring credit. And what that gentleman was saying raises the possibility of it being done without your doing anything about it. Okay, we're going to take some email in the meantime.
Yes, Mr. Perkins. We called the Digicel center. We were put on to, after going through all the different kinds of things, about 3 minutes, numbers, press this, push that. We got a lady. We explained exactly what it was. She said, hold on, she'll get somebody. We held on for about 3 minutes. Then that gentleman came on. I don't know if he was not a Jamaican, because he seemed sort of very accented. And then he deliberately kept his voice low because we could see it on the meter.
Yes.
On the board in the control room. And eventually he suggested that we called him on another number. He gave us the number he gave us to call us is the same number we were on. Yeah. And we were trying to point this out to him, that is the number we are actually on. Anyway, he hung up and we called again. And to this day, you know, after having heard hello and they're trying to get somewhere to speak to us, we were just left dead.
Okay. Well,
they obviously don't want, something is wrong.
We're trying to get somebody from the OUR now. They should be able to do something about this.
Mr. Perkins, are you sure, says this email, are you sure someone in Barbados or Trinidad did not send that email to Mrs. Sasumba about the increase in tourism? How come we're now just hearing this? You know, Mr. Perkins, I believe that lady must be dreaming. Where is all the money from all this sudden surge of visitor arrival? Why is it that Omar wants to go and trouble the bauxite money now? He shouldn't need it. I would like to get an independent person to confirm this latest spin. Perhaps you could ask Mr. Butch Stewart.
Well.
Mr. Perkins, just before
Matthew, let me say this, you see, that one of the interesting things about she gave a figure of something in the region of 3 million tourists, of which 1.7 million were cruise ship passengers. Now, when cruise ships come in, those...
You could just get the ship's manifest, you know.
I beg your pardon?
You can just use the ship's manifest.
Yes,
you can just use the number.
But the question is, how many of those passengers came ashore? And because that is one of the problems with cruise shipping in Jamaica. A lot of the passengers don't come off the ship. And how much would they have spent when they came ashore, the ones who did? That figure of 3 million is not as attractive as it might sound at first hearing. Anyway.
Mr. Perkins, just before every elections, they keep on saying that they find these bodies behind Tivoli Gardens and go on to characterize the area as execution chamber. But why would anyone kill someone and hide them behind their house? Would they take them to some area where it would be difficult to connect back to them?
Well, I should have thought so. It's very interesting. That seems to provide a motivation for another raid on Tivoli.
Mr. Perkins, have you finished? Sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Perkins, I am very happy that the JLP has taken out that lovely ad which comes just after the news on your program. I heard it today. It talks about wise choices and give it your best. Step up to the test. We deserve better. We deserve the best. I totally agree with them. I must congratulate the JLP PR department. It's a wonderful advertisement.
Oh, I think I heard it, but didn't realize that. I've been hearing it all over the place, but I didn't realize it was a JLP ad.
Good afternoon, Mr. Perkins. I noticed recently in the report on murders that there has been no mention of the heavily tinted white Corolla motor car that is usually on the scene. I wonder why.
Well, they probably graduated from that, you know.
Mutty, would you kindly ask for me publicly what is the status of the employees of the Jamaica Public Service Company reclassification exercise that the company appealed about after the IDT ruled in 2004 and which was heard in July 2006? To date, not a word from that appeal.
Interesting one. We should follow it up and see what information we can get about it.
Mr. Perkins, I'm sending you this very frightening thing about microwaved water. The picture will show you what it does to plants. It is a science fair project. The water was divided. It was filtered and divided into two parts. The first part was heated to boiling in a pan on the stove, and the second part heated in a microwave. After cooling the water, 2 identical plants were planted to see if there would be any difference in the growth pattern of the plant between the boiled water and the water boiled in a microwave. As you can see from the attached photograph, the microwaved leaf was wilted, and the picture, day 1, day 2, day 3, is really frightening. Eventually the plant died. Apparently, what it turns out is that the microwave somehow disturbs the DNA of living matter, or any meat or any food that is put in it. You can check this with the Scientific Research Council if you haven't thrown out your microwave unit as yet.
Check it. Check what with the...
What happens to matter that is microwaved, used in the microwave.
Or uses microwave water.
Yes.
Well, that's very interesting. It should be easy to check that by just heating up some water in the microwave and cooling it down and using it. You have a plant? You have a lot.
Yes, well, this is a picture of the plant.
Yes, let me see it.
There are several days pictures, but...
where was this done and who did it, I wonder?
If you pass it back to me, I'll tell you. It's local. Oh, it's day 1, day 2. Yes, this is day 1, day 2. Yes, it was a science project of a child.
Of a what?
Of a child going to a school. It's a science fair project. And this is, and all these photographs show by day 7 the plant had died. The plant planted in earth and watered with microwave water died.
Well, it would be. I hope there are people listening to this who would feel like doing the experiment themselves. It shouldn't be too difficult to do. Just take a plant and water it with water that would cool down from after having been microwaved, and see what happens to the plant. If it doesn't die in 7 days, then something is wrong with that experiment. Or doesn't die, as a consequence of being watered with water taken from that has been through the microwave.
Mr. Perkins,
it does. If the experiment is confirmed, then it seems to me to be a very dangerous matter using microwave ovens. We take a break. We come back shortly. Okay, thank you very much. We're back online.
Mr. Perkins, Bermuda busted tape. Did you hear what the GDP was? The island's total GDP, the market value of all the goods and services produced, rose by 9.1% in 2005.
Oh my gosh.
Driven upwards chiefly by the expansion of the international business sector. Bermuda's total GDP was estimated at $4,857 billion, or a remarkable $76,403 per capita income.
Oh my God.
In comparison, the U.S. has a GDP per capita over the same year of $41,600. Canada, $33,900. And the United Kingdom, $30,100.
Oh my God. Boy.
Bermuda GDP leads the world.
It's very interesting, Bermuda.
It's a long thing, but I just read the opening.
Bermuda remains a colony, self-governing, but a colony. Not unlike the Cayman Islands, both of which are prosperous, very prosperous. We seem to have focused on the wrong things. Focused on the business of being independent rather than or disconnected from Britain rather than on the basis of managing our affairs adequately. We were satisfied with just, saying we are independent now, we can do anything we like. But we haven't focused upon managing our country in a manner that is in the interests of the people generally. That is our problem.
Mr. Perkins, I'm a regular listener to your program, but I'm unable to pick up your program today. I am from Mandeville. My sister telephoned from overseas complaining about not picking you up on the internet. But it looks like the problem has now extended itself to Jamaica. I don't like casting aspersions on anyone, but it appears that something quite sinister is afoot. And if this sort of thing can be traced, the perpetrators should be charged or prosecuted.
Well, it's worth looking into.
We would like to hear from an expert or the person in charge of... This is another mail, by the way. Information technology at the Broadcasting Authority about the obvious and deliberate interference with your broadcast.
Well, I don't know that...
I am writing to them because I am sick and tired of all this distortion. I can't hear a word you are saying sometimes, and when I do, the sentence is like you're speaking underwater.
Okay. I wonder what this is about.
Mr. Perkins, the CVM television selection for a soundbite of the year featuring the PNP Member of Parliament, Mr. K.D. Knight, displays a lack of political savvy and tact, which is the hallmark of this current administration. There are, however, a few lessons to be learned from such utterances, lessons which intelligent, self-respecting stakeholders of a civilized society should sit up and learn. Firstly, there is the issue of reality versus perception in politics. For many years, most Jamaicans were of the view that the PNP represented a united, organized, and cohesive political force. We know that that is not just a perception, which the party members and functionaries try to spread abroad. Because the PNP, if it does one thing, is that they look after other PNP. The other perception of widespread corruption within the party and the administration is all connected. Nearly 18 years of scandals and corrupt activities. And yet still, this administration, while not denying it, says, well, if the JLP comes in, it will do no better.
If the JLP
comes into power, it will do no better.
Well, the latest thing is that that we are corrupt, but they are corrupt also.
Mr. Perkins, can you imagine the so-called Trumblier tradition? What does it mean today? Isn't it laughable?
Yes, well, I don't know. I think that at one stage in the history of the PNP, it would not have been guilty of some of the things that it seems to be guilty of now.
Mr. Mutty, I notice you do not read my emails, but let me try again. I see that events are overtaking you. The continuing spate of grievous crime, garbage pile up in the cities, citizens having to defecate in plastic bags, then dumping them everywhere they can, poor or non-existing fire services, poor and unsanitary health and hospital services, degradation of the environment and myriad other problems, all point to the fundamental flaws inherent in the structure of the system of government and politics. I am not religious, but the Bible tells us the kingdom of heaven is being taken by force and violence is overcoming it. God has managed to control the situation by casting out Lucifer and his cronies. Where are they today, Mr. Perkins?
Well, you really have sort of described very dramatically a lot of the things that are going on here, and that there are a lot more there's a lot more that could be added to that. You know.
Good morning.
You didn't mention the slaughter, the murders, the police killings, the crime generally, the lack of employment. Boy, it's you know, the idea that our problems can be solved by the like of 3% growth and you know, fixing the budget and all this kind of thing. We need something a lot more than that.
Mr. Perkins?
Our view of what is going on in Jamaica tends to be very superficial, the discussion of them.
Mr. Perkins? Headlines of bones and body parts in the Maypen Cemetery. Maybe your prediction is coming to pass.
Of course, we have no means. The fact that bones and bodies are found bones are found in the Maypen Cemetery doesn't tell us where the bones came from, does it? Or the bodies that were involved.
Good morning, Mr. Perkins. The other day you were talking with somebody about cross-dressing.
About what?
Cross-dressing, like
yes.
Women dressing like men and men. You know, I believe it had to do with the hermaphrodite who turned up in Fort Augusta or something like that. Yes, to continue, I would like to point out that cross-dressing in Jamaica first occurred back in the days of slavery. Cross-dressing was a means of resistance. It could be used to escape or to confuse the masters. Cross-dressing challenged European norms and could be used as a useful disguise. This is probably where the popular character of the big belly woman in Junkuno, played by a man, probably originated. If a man could pretend to be a pregnant woman after the ban on the Atlantic slave trade, then he could escape some labor, since pregnant slaves became a commodity during that time.
Interesting, but I wonder about it. I suppose that slave owners and slave masters would have kept better track of their slaves. How would they have a man and the man suddenly turn up with a pregnant form? And they must know that, you know, they have John. What has happened to John? And who is this woman who has suddenly come? I don't think they had that many slaves on the individual estates that they wouldn't know who these are.
I just finished. Mr. Perkins, I've studied the brown ones, the black ones, and the fat ones too. I've looked searchingly and closely at all the benefits they reap without shame or even a thank you. But I can't find much in any that spells hope for you and me. Have you guessed that I'm alluding to your average PNP? Though you listen very carefully to everything they say, you'll find you're not much wiser at the closing of the day. They do a lot of spouting of utopia to come, but it usually boils down to just a featherbed for some. So next time you buy a beer or a plate of curry goat, and then they turn around and ask you for your vote, just think of all the pros and cons and weigh them up. You'll find, I'm sure, it's just the same old mixture as before. Jamaicans, think of the issues. Don't be fooled, not yet again. Don't be led up the same old lane. It leads to nowhere, that you know. Think well, be wise. Know your friends, and better still, know your foe.
Yes, very good. Okay, we go to a break. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Perkins. Two things.
Yes.
One has to do with the microwave.
Yes.
And the other one with cell phones.
Yes.
Now, I'm a trained radar engineer. I was trained in the Royal Air Force between 1943 and 1945. Served 3 years in the war. In training.
A trained what kind of engineer?
Radar.
Radar engineer.
Yeah. In training, we were taught certain things to avoid. Standing before a dish that was called a launcher.
Yes.
The instructor told us if we had any intention of being any use to our wives when we get back to Jamaica, don't stand in front of the launcher. Because it will make you impotent. Okay.
What was this launcher?
I did service.
What was this function of this launcher?
To transmit the frequencies, the radar frequencies.
Oh, I see.
You would feel a little warmth coming out. You know, Jamaicans are very intrepid.
Yes.
And they would go before it and they were warned. Don't go before it. Anyway, I have been doing servicing in Jamaica for years. And in the early 1980s, I got my first microwave oven for repairs. When I opened the machine, what do you think I found? An electronic tuned cavity part called a magnetron. It operates in radar on the 21 centimeter band. And it is injurious to health. I do not use a microwave oven because the frequencies that it uses are dangerous frequencies.
Dangerous what?
Dangerous frequencies.
Yes.
They work in the infrared that you don't feel until you're dead. You see, so, I mean, I'm not telling people don't buy a microwave. But I don't use it.
Now, how would these frequencies affect you?
I don't really know. I'm not a medical man. But I happen to know that my instructor told me that it will make you impotent. So you can extrapolate from that.
And you're still fearing that?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay. The cell phones. The caller is absolutely true. It has happened to me twice.
What company?
Both calling from CW to GSL. It happened
happened twice.
No, your telephone is what kind of telephone?
CW.
Eh?
CW. Cable and wireless.
Cable and wireless.
Mm-hmm.
And
I have a house phone that I'm talking to you on now.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Now, what happened to you?
What happened to me
What happened with that cell phone?
I have a taxi man.
Yes.
And I call him regularly when I wish to go out because I'm retired. I'm 90 years old.
You're what?
90 years old.
Oh, Lord. You sound like a young boy.
Okay, thank you.
Thank me? What did I have to do with it?
Okay, all right. Anyway.
I didn't keep the microwave away from you.
No, I did it myself because I had a choice.
Yes. And at 90, you're still worried about the possibility of exposure to those waves, eh?
I'm not doing today. I'm not going that road.
Yes.
Anyway, I have a taxi driver.
Yes.
That I use regularly.
Uh-huh.
Called him one day last year, and the call lasted less than a minute. Just asked him to pick me up.
Uh-huh.
He said he was out of town, and he couldn't pick me up at that time. Anyway, I took another taxi. When my phone bill came, I had a call on it from his phone, to his phone, from my phone, for 45 minutes, $315.
Oh.
And I have queried the matter, and I found a young lady who is an expert on cell phones. She can use it, I think, better than the manufacturer.
Uh-huh.
She says to transfer money is called a diversion.
Uh-huh.
And you go into menu and you go into forward call. If a person calls you and you retain the number, all you've got to do is to dial star 128 is what it says, and dial the person's number, and the person's credit will be transferred to you.
Oh.
So this is it's one of the anomalies of technology.
Uh-huh.
Concerning your frequency on your radio now, there's an interference on your radio, particularly when you speak.
When I speak?
Yeah.
Oh.
Most of the time.
Then I must have some some waves.
You're suffering from a thing.
Some radar waves.
No, you're suffering from a thing called adjacent band interference.
Adjacent band interference.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
In other words, a station somewhere is rivaling you, and the engineer is trying to outmodulate. In other words, Jamaicans like things loud. So they say they make it loud, make the radio loud.
Yes.
And in doing that, it crosses over to the frequency that you're using.
I see.
And I wonder what station that is. Will say I'm wrong, but an engineer will know that I'm right. So that's exactly what I have to contribute.
Are you having difficulty? Are you having difficulty hearing me?
No.
No?
No, I never had any difficulty hearing you because I monitor you on I monitor you on a set that is an international radio. So I have no difficulty.
I see.
I used to use a transmitter once, so I use the international shortwave radio to pick it up.
I see, yes.
Okay, sir?
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Very good, sir.
All the best to you. Okay, hello? Hello?
Yes, hello?
Yes, good morning.
Hello, Mr. Perkins.
Good afternoon, I beg your pardon. Hi.
Yes, sir, good afternoon. First time caller, long time listener.
I beg your pardon?
I said first time caller, long time listeners.
Very happy to have you on the program.
Yes, sir. I'm calling from Toronto, Canada.
Toronto.
Yes, sir. I came down to Jamaica in Christmas.
Not hearing you very clear. Speak up.
I came down to Jamaica last year, Christmas.
Yes.
2 weeks with my family. And I was staying in the parish of St. Elizabeth, around here, mountainside.
Oh, yes,
Apparently, when I get there, I realized that there was no water in the pipe for several months, as I was told.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Perkins, I had to take my family to Black River to a hotel, which cost me extra money because I have kids. I have spoken to the people down there, and they say that they speak to Mr. Buchanan, which is the MP, and nothing have done towards the situation. And in my community, there's a lot of elder people living there, which, of course, they need water every day with the kids. So I don't know what these MPs are doing in terms of helping people who are in need.
Well, sir, I tell you something.
Of course,
I tell you something. I'm not sure how much it is within the power of the MP to do it. The problem goes beyond that.
Is that right?
Yes. Well, when I say that, I mean if Mr. Buchanan, of course, is a member of the governing party, right?
Yeah.
And if government in Jamaica were more concerned to serve the interests of the people, right? Well, I suppose that problems like these would tend not to arise, not certainly with the frequency that they do. But I don't get the impression that that is what government is about in Jamaica.
Well, not at all aspects in terms of government, but at some point in governing, then they have to make sure or take a stand to make sure that the constituency which they govern is being running accordingly.
Yes, but I'm not sure how Mr. Buchanan would get that done. Hold on just a moment for me. Okay, thank you very much. We're back online. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Perkins.
Yes?
Yes, sir. So I was saying that who in the Member of Parliament would be able to listen to the people's voice and help them in such conditions?
Yes. Well, I tell you something. So if government was taking the approach to these matters that it ought to, it shouldn't be necessary for an MP to come and tell them that they must supply water to fairly large communities, right? I mean, if something goes wrong with the water supply, then the MP might assist in bringing it into the attention of the appropriate authority. But to tell them that here is a community of 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people, and they haven't got any water going into their community, that shouldn't be necessary, should it?
I see. Somebody has to listen to the people, because if the local government is not taking responsibility
to look
into the situation and help these people. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
I was saying if the local government is not helping the people and look into the situation and to resolve the problem, then they have to take it to a higher level.
Yes, but it is local government that is creating this problem. This is a central government problem. And the central government has an agency called the Water Commission that should be looking about this kind of thing. But the Water Commission is supplying water to some people, but not to others.
That's right.
Yes,
and the thing is, it's not even water trucks.
Now, on what basis? On what basis is it decided that, and it isn't just a matter of the Water Commission not having the resources. It should have the resources. It is.
They should, but these people don't care. They just don't care, because where they live in, they have water, so they just don't care.
Yes, well, fine. That is.
That's why somebody has to take a stand.
Yes,
when I was there, it cost me $30,000 to stay in Black River.
Yes.
For 2 weeks. Because my dad house have no water.
Oh, horrible.
Paying water rate, paying the water bill every month as well.
They pay water rates every month. Eh?
Yeah, the bill keep coming.
Oh.
Yes, the bill keep coming.
Oh, I see. So there are pipes leading into the area. There are pipes within the area.
Pipe.
Eh?
Yeah, there's pipe.
But no water in the pipes.
But no water in the pipe for several months.
Oh,
if the pump broke down, they need new pump.
Well, that's another matter. Maybe the MP has a role there. All right, sir. Thank you very much. All the best to you. Hope that next time you come back, it won't be as bad as that. Hello? Hello? What's happening?
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Perkins.
Mr. Geddes, how are you?
I am not too bad, sir.
You're not
I understand you wanted to speak to me about a telecommunications matter, but before we get to that, might I just offer a comment on something that your last caller was saying, that conversation that you're having?
Yes.
It's very unfortunate that a lot of communities do not have water, and it's really not acceptable. And there is a protocol that, there should be universal access to potable water.
Yes,
but outside of that, too, or maybe emanating from that, is the fact that we have several small private water companies now being established that are serving communities, providing them with water on their own steam, and billing them, and we hold them to very strict standards, and that is certainly helping. And I would encourage a lot of communities, there might be entrepreneurs in particular areas. Once you can identify a specific geographic area, we know, just to name one, the vineyards, that development beside Highway 2000 heading to Clarendon, Kingston to Clarendon.
Yes.
That community is served by an independent private water supplier. They supply both water and sewage services to those residents. And you have about four private water companies in St. Anne. And you also have some others in St. Catherine.
Yes.
And I think it's a good way to go. It encourages private sector involvement in the provision of water. Yes.
And how are they regulated in terms of what they charge and so on?
We said the OUR, they have to submit, certain financial statements to us for the initial tariff. And then we do a consultation before they even get the license. We consult with the population that they would be serving, the potential population and the population. And we also consult after we have an application from them for the tariff when they've gotten the license. And then we issue a tariff that's published, and that's binding on them for a specific period of time.
Yes.
Yes.
And what about the purification of the water and all that?
Yes, we hold them to certain very strict standards, both for sewage and the provision of potable water.
And how long has this been going on?
Sorry?
How long has this been going on?
Well, let me see now. The first private companies that supplied water were located in St. Anne. I think you had the 8 rivers. 2 of them were owned by UDC, and I think one is in Shaw Park. This was quite a few years ago. But in recent years, there has been a proliferation of small providers coming to us for licenses and being granted. We have granted, I think, 2 licenses in St. Mary. And those that are in operation now seem to be doing very well.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes. That's what happens when the more private sector involvement in a particular sector,
yes.
It usually tends to bring about improvements.
Yes.
Yes.
But the only difficulty is, of course, that the private sector usually functions in a competitive market.
Yes, and the water provision service is not a competitive market because of the high infrastructure costs.
I know.
Yes.
But look here, how do the prices compare with what the Water Commission charges, for example?
Okay, okay, let's use the case of, I think, the vineyards, which is probably the last, Kantara was the last one we approved. But I think for the vineyards, the rate was marginally above the Water Commission's rate. But then again, you bear in mind, Water Commission has the benefit of, economies of scale. And so, but there was not a tremendous difference really in the rates as far as I recollect. Yes.
I see. Hold on just a moment for me,
please. Individually, though.
Please hold on. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, a community wanting to get in touch with one of these agencies, how would they go about it?
One of these agencies...
One of these companies,
Oh, first of all, let me explain that there are companies, small companies doing it that, have licenses in more than one area.
Yes.
But in addition to that, one of the more interesting cases we had was in St. Mary. I can't remember the name of the community offhand. I think it was something like Industry Pen or something like that. But that community formed themselves together into a cooperative, applied to us for a license. We consulted, granted the license. I don't think the tariff itself, I'm not sure the tariff itself was approved yet. But, but those are some other initiatives that's coming from the people themselves.
But if they're operating as a cooperative,
yes,
why would they need to have a license and...
Well, for a variety of reasons. Remember, as we said, it's not a competitive marketplace, no. So people, it's not every single resident in that area that might be agreeable to the cooperative or as influential in the cooperative.
In that event, they don't join the cooperative?
Right, but I'm saying, but there are certain, remember that cooperative has a license now to serve a specific geographic area exclusively. So it's not a matter that they are living in the cooperative, they are living in the residential area. So you need to regulate that. In terms of, you have to ensure that they comply with NEPA standards. You have to ensure that they comply with Ministry of Health standards. And traditionally we have also dealt with the issue of tariffs, even though, as you said, it's a cooperative and therefore it's not like to them where to price themselves out of business or abuse the situation because they would be abusing themselves.
The people who are consuming the water are the very people who are running the organization.
That is true. I don't know that the license, the regulations specifically speak to that. It's something I would have to research. But I think that currently it still requires that they have a tariff approved by the OUR.
Yes.
But in that case, so we deal with the small providers differently. From how we deal with the NWC. Even though the standards are still very strict, but in terms of their submissions to us for a tariff, Water Commission's submissions would be, probably a lot more detailed and involve a lot more manpower and resources to satisfy all the different things that we need for their justification for tariff review. I know that in the case of the independent private water suppliers that we do require audited financial statements from them when we're reviewing it. But as I said again, I know that there are some requirements that they are exempted from.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that sounds like progress of a kind.
Yes, it's progress. I might also share with you that it's progress coming in 2007, which is the year that OUR celebrates its 10th anniversary.
Oh, good. Good. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We'll be having several activities to mark that year, and we shall be briefing the public and the media on them in due course.
Now, do you know anything about this telecommunications problem?
Well, if I understand it correctly from your producer, the issue at hand is the transfer of credit from one's handset to another handset.
Yes.
Yes. Well, first off, I must say that, I'm a little bit concerned about it myself when it just came out. But from a personal perspective, from a regulatory perspective, though, it really is a marketing strategy that has been offered by the company, and it's really not something that we could get involved in and say, no, you cannot offer this
except Mr.
quote-unquote benefit to
except Mr. Geddes.
Yes.
That marketing strategy or no, there must be adequate safeguards to protect the customer against the abuse of this technique.
I quite agree with you, Mr. Perkins, but likewise, I mean, it's like a credit card. You lose a credit card, then,
No. But I had a call from somebody who is complaining that, first of all, he didn't know anything about this.
Yes.
Right? He didn't know that this was possible.
Yes.
Secondly, he has a telephone that he has an account.
Yes.
He doesn't buy.
Yeah, he has a postpaid account.
He what?
He has a postpaid account.
Postpaid account.
He gets a bill and then pays the bill, yes.
Okay. He gets a bill, an enormous bill. And when he asks for an explanation, the explanation is that he has been transferring credit to other telephones or some other telephone.
Yes. Okay. Well,
and he doesn't know anything about this.
Right. And you see, well, one has to be careful when you lend, your phone to person, because first of all, you'd have to lend the phone to somebody for them to transfer the credit, or they would have to have access to the phone instrument itself.
Well, that is the first question. That is a question, not a statement.
No, that's a statement. In order to transfer the credit from the phone, from one account to the other account, you need the phone, you need the instrument. So I would need to lend the person, or the person would have to get my phone to transfer the credit. So, I mean, so you can protect yourself by, being careful with how you lend out your phone. But, when I heard about this, and I said, well, it's a very dangerous thing.
Hold on. This man, are all Digicel customers advised that this is a possibility?
I'm really not sure.
But then hold on.
I heard it by the way. As a customer, as a Digicel customer,
yes.
I heard it by the way.
Yes. You heard it by the way.
By the way, as a Digicel customer, now I'm speaking about.
Now,
right.
Ought Digicel to have a facility like this that could affect customers? Customers are not aware that they have to be very careful where they put down their phones, right? And where they leave them. And they're not told this. And then they hear that money has been transferred to other phones.
But yes, it could be credit transferred, or it could be a person making a call also and running up your bill. So you see, I suppose from the carrier's point of view, the two things are similar. You must protect the instrument by which you access the account, whether it's your bank card or your telephone. You must protect it. But I was going to point out to you though that I took my phone and then had somebody try to send credit with it to see what would happen. And I got back a message saying that I had to register for it. So I'm still at a little bit of a loss as to how how the system works, because my phone could not do it. So I am safe from that regime. But I don't know very much about it. But it's similar. Another issue in the telecom thing that I had some concern about recently also and it goes to how you can end up losing money on your account, so to speak, without even knowing it. If you I think one of the other companies issued roaming to all their customers, and if you traveled abroad and turned on your phone, and then therefore the signal picked up that the phone was abroad, even calls going into your voicemail, you could end up being charged for. So therefore, when you came back to Jamaica, whatever, even if you didn't use the phone while you were abroad, when you come back to Jamaica, you might find that whatever money you had put on the phone has been depleted. Uh-huh. And it's some of these things sometimes, and I use that example just to say that sometimes in their effort to give customers, as many deals and as many so-called benefits as possible, sometimes you really affect, you can cause them to be in a worse off situation.
No, but the customer should be informed of these.
Yes, but when you say the customers were informed, so I mean, I can't speak to the level, but I know that there were ads about the roaming. In the case of the roaming matter, there were ads that, roaming was being put on everybody's phone. There were ads about this transfer of credit. Several ads, have been run. But I'm not saying now that.
Explain that again for me. That if you go abroad, you take your phone abroad.
Yeah, say you had a prepaid phone, and you took your phone abroad, and you turned on the phone while you were abroad. So therefore, now the signals would locate the phone and say, okay, this phone is now abroad and is on roaming. And say, for instance, you turned off back the phone now, but you started to receive calls on your voicemail. You would be liable for the cost of those calls to your voicemail, even if you didn't pick them up and you went back to Jamaica. When you came back to Jamaica, now say you had only $500 on your phone. You come back to Jamaica, you might find that the $500 has gone because people were calling you, leaving messages on your voicemail, and whether you pick them up or not, there was a chance
for
incoming call. Sorry, let me just clarify.
If somebody calls me on my telephone.
Let me just quickly clarify. So therefore, if you went abroad with your phone, it would be better for you not to if you don't want the roaming, for you not to turn on the phone any at all. Because once you turn it on, then you're going to be picked up on the roaming, on the roaming network. Yes.
Well, let me ask you. Yes. You pay when somebody calls you?
When you are roaming. When you're roaming, remember when you're roaming, you pay for incoming and outgoing calls.
I see.
Yes.
I didn't realize that.
Yes.
Yes. We have apparently somebody from Digicel now. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
How are you, sir?
I am fine, Mr.
You are the gentleman who was talking to me earlier?
No, I am not.
Oh, I see. Because we got the impression that Digicel wasn't anxious to talk about this at all?
No, man, not at all. Not at all.
Mr. Geddes is on the line.
Yes.
What do you have to say now?
Well, when we launched Credit You last year, we had an advertising communication that spoke to reminding people that their phone, that you have to keep your phone secure, because people have been known. People have been known to take other people's phones to make calls without their knowledge, etc. So we did communicate to people that they needed to keep their phones secure.
You put an ad out where?
We had put it in all the papers. It was in the Gleaner and the Observer last year when we launched the program. We also posted on our website. In our ads, we referred people to the website where they could see what we call our frequently asked questions.
I see.
Where it would answer. What we also did for our corporate clients, we immediately put we did not include them.
I'm sorry. We have to go to. Okay. Will you hold on for a moment?
Sure.
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Perkins.
Yes, we're back. Mr. Geddes, you're still there?
Yes, I'm still here, sir.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Digicel.
Win. So we put on our website what we call, as I said, the frequently asked questions, which which typically answers the most frequent questions that we get from customers on Credit U. I mean, but our statistics show that there are very few complaints that come in on people who are fraudulently using other people's phones to transfer credit. But like with anything else, you want to keep your phone safe because credit is money, and when you put credit on your phone, you don't want somebody using it without your permission to talk. So we always try to remind customers to secure their phones at all times.
Yes. Okay, sir. But it applies also to postpaid
It does. It does. Postpaid accounts can do that, but what we did for our corporate clients is because you'd imagine that there are a few corporate clients out there where the company pays the bill as opposed to the individual, is that we automatically prevented them from using a credit use service. They would have to request it or give authorization for their staff members to be able to use it. So anybody who does not want the feature available on their phone can call our customer care department at 100 and ask for it to be removed.
I see.
We do allow you to do what we call opt-out.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Geddes?
Yes, sir.
Any comments?
Well, one, I realize now why we couldn't, when we tried our phone to see whether it would work or not it didn't work. I think we had answered that in terms of the corporate clients. So that answered one question. The other thing, of course, is that I would probably say that, opting out is one thing, but that's if you have the knowledge about it, It might have been nicer to sell it to the persons and say, if you want to go on the system, opt in.
Yes.
As opposed to opt out,
Indeed.
But that would be just my preference. But I suppose they must have weighed the ins and outs and decided that it would suit them better to give it to everybody.
It seems to me that the issue now is one of awareness.
Awareness, most definitely. Most definitely.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Other listeners, I also want to remind them about the water thing that we really would like to see communities and developments, taking up the opportunity to get into the provision of water and sewage services.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Right.
All the best to you. Okay, hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good.
Yes,
good
Mr.
afternoon
Perkins.
to you.
I'm glad that we got that straight because I wasn't aware that the postpaid account was. Yes.
Was susceptible to this kind of use.
Yes. Now, there is another point. The gentleman that called about the microwave.
Yes.
All right. The microwave itself does have, it's because it's a radiation. It gives off a certain degree of radiation.
Yes.
But the inner housing of the microwave, the housing that's over the plastic unit, has a lead spray.
Has a what?
A lead spray.
Yes.
That it's supposed to keep leave only a minute amount of radiation that escapes.
Yes.
And one of the reasons why it may not necessarily make a plant thrive is because you take a lot of oxygen out of the actual water. And water caught from the pipe or even treated water still has a high level of oxygen content to it.
Yes.
And when you diminish that, then it won't be what necessarily the plant wants. Even if the water that's boiled loses some oxygen, but I should think it retains more because of the processes are different.
I see.
But I wanted to let you know that about not even a year ago, I spoke to a friend of mine, and on the phone, once I got off the phone, I didn't close off the call. I just put the phone down.
Hold on, before you go on to that.
Yes.
Water is, what are the gases again? Oxygen and,
you mean like CO2?
Eh?
CO2.
CO2.
Yes.
Yes.
2 parts oxygen.
2 carbon, oxygen.
Yes.
Yes. Now, when you drive out oxygen, you are diminishing. Well, I don't quite understand that.
All right. You can always...
No, CO2.
Yes, sir.
CO2 is carbon dioxide.
Yes.
But water is carbon...
1 part carbon, 2 part oxygen.
And what about hydrogen?
Yes.
I
can't quite remember, but I
can't remember the composition. Anyway, you are saying...
Yes, and...
you're an expert in these matters.
Not an expert, I'm an ex-military person. I understand frequencies.
You're an ex-military person?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I see.
But that aside, a year ago I was making a call and I didn't close off the call, like pressing that button on the phone when you're through talking.
Yes.
And would you believe that the other person on the other end, they didn't do that either because they didn't start the call. And I only realized after trying to make another call that all the credit that I had left had expended.
Yes.
And one day I received a call from someone who I had just spoken to, but they wouldn't answer the phone. And I had the phone to my ear, and I could hear a rustling move, and I could hear even talking background. Then I realized that person accidentally, maybe not even by hand, but by having it in their pocket, made a call to me.
Oh.
And then I hanged up the phone so that not to allow their credit to come off.
You hung up your phone?
Say again?
You turned off your phone?
I didn't turn it off. I just ended the call, because if you don't end the call and the other person doesn't end the call, a lot of people, when they use their cell phone, they have a tendency, once they're through talking, to put the phone down. And you have to sometimes close off the call just to be on the safe that the other person closes off as well, because if he just puts down his phone in his car, then the line is still open, and the credit is still going off, and it won't go away until the money is finished. You know? I have a special feature on my phone now that 3 minutes after I'm through talking on the phone, a security feature chips in, and I have to put in a code now to reopen the phone.
To come back to the water thing.
Yes.
Water is H2O.
H2O, that's right.
Yes. 2 parts of hydrogen. To 1 of oxygen.
Yes.
Right? So if the microwave is...
Not just microwave, all high temperature form of heating water releases oxygen from it, because...
Okay. But then that diminishes the amount of the water.
Yes, it shrinks in the pot.
Well, it does what?
Evaporates. I just said.
Yes, indeed.
But
and that is what is happening. Yes. Now that is what the microwave is doing is no different, as you describe, is no different from what the stove
does. It does it at a higher rate, but that's about it. It's the same thing.
Yes, but that would mean that you have less water, but not that pouring what water is left on a plant would destroy the plant.
No. What I think may have happened, and then again, I'm not a scientist or anything like that, but I think that the water molecules, in the water itself, all right, the properties hasn't changed. You see, but what might happen is that the oxygen content might not readily be available in water that's been heated and cooled and then used.
Well, I don't know about that.
All right, you see, if you had someone who grew orchids, they'll tell you that sometimes they use boiled water because it's sterilized. And it reduces the risk of
Of what?
Fungus.
Yes.
Whereas rainwater sometimes will increase it. And I'm not a farmer either, but you're wrong, but this is just that's just what I know, that working on a microwave without the covering, one has to be a professional, taught in how to microwave, not having it plugged in, or he'll feel the ears on his hands stand up And that's because he's been giving himself mild radiation.
I see. All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Have a pleasant day.
All the best to you. Good. Okay, hello?
Hello?
Hello, yes?
Yes. Miss Perkins?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I didn't call you for a long time, but I still have to wish you Happy New Year.
You still what?
I still have to wish you a Happy New Year.
Oh, thank you very much. Same to you.
Yes, I was just listening to that thing. I wanted to get to you before the person on Digicel came on, but unfortunately I didn't. One of the things, some of the customers, they are really not aware of
Speak up for me.
Yes, I'm saying that some of the customers not really aware of some of the things that happens, because did you know that if you put let's say you have two cell phones, or you make a diversion from one phone to another number. I always do it because I have two phones, and some of the times I happen to divert the calls. So all calls coming in to me will come to one phone. I didn't realize that when you do that, you're still paying a bill on the phone that you divert the call from.
Oh, is that so?
Yes. And one at a time when I find out that I had 200.
So you're incurring two
bills at the same time. Because when let's say I have this.
Hold on just a moment for me. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
Yes, I was saying.
Yes.
Where you have a service on a feature on the phone which says divert all calls. If your phone is off or anything like that, then you would have picked up those calls on another phone, the number that you divert them to.
Yes.
But let's say you have $200 on that phone that you have diverted the call from, if it is off or anything. You're gonna pay all that credit is just gonna vanish from that phone.
Oh, is that so?
Yes.
And you also pay on the other one?
No, well, the calls that divert to that phone, let's say you call me on my 85 number, and I've diverted my 85 number and answer it on my 96 number then, for instance. You're paying to call me, but the credit that I have on the phone that you didn't get me on, but it diverted to the other phone, it has all gone. And when I realized that, because I had credit on which I didn't use, and I trying to make a call, and they were telling me that I had no credit left. When I checked the service, I checked the
Yes, but I'm paying to call you.
Yes.
But you're also paying to receive the call.
Yes.
Eh?
Unfortunately, that is what is happening.
Yes, right.
And I call their customer service, and they tell me now that it is a service that you have to pay for, because you use that phone to call your other phone. Even while it is off. And I'm saying, one thing struck me is that if I'm aware of that, then if you call me on that phone and you don't get me, sorry about that, because I'm not going to divert my phone anymore from I know that. So the information is to go out to the customer.
Yes.
I don't have a problem so much with the credit use service, because there was an ad out there for a very long time last year.
Yes. Okay, sir.
Yes, so
thank you very much.
Another thing,
yes.
Perkins, I noticed nowadays that we're not having a lot of complaints about fire, because I see some improvement coming to the fire service.
Are there?
Yes.
Where are they coming?
Well, because I can now see most of the stations, they have good trucks.
What?
They have a lot of trucks now have been distributed to all the fire stations. Yes.
Is that so?
Yes. I passed St. Anne's Bay the other day, and there was 3 brand new trucks there.
A brand new truck?
3 brand new trucks.
In St. Anne's Bay?
Yes, and there's one at the Otrias fire station that I know of. Yes. St. Anne's Bay was a station that one dilapidated truck where I don't know what they would do with that. Now I see 3 trucks there, and I say, well, there's some improvement. But not only that, I've been listening on all the fires that have been happening. I'm not hearing so many complaints. You know, there was one time when people would have been saying, why, it's because of the fire service, why this and that happened. So I just hope there's an improvement coming to the fore.
I hope so.
Yes, and I hope that our new Prime Minister will continue to make more improvements. I know that is an area that she was quite concerned.
I gather that the number of trucks did come in, sir.
Yes. Yes.
But my understanding is that the number is far from adequate.
Yeah, well, we know that, but, you know, we still have to remember that less than a year since she's been there, and let us give her some time to see what she can do.
So you're associating this with her?
Well,
with her being Prime Minister?
No, you know, I recall there was a time when our own colleagues in Parliament and her had some differences over the same situation.
Yes.
And I think she would take it as a priority to do something about it when she comes.
I see.
Yes. So.
Well, let's see how far she goes with it. Okay? Hello? And for this... hello? Oh, okay. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Mr. Perkins.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon. Good day to you.
Good day to you, too.
Okay. You was listening to CVM News yesterday?
I think so, yes.
That looked like Tivoli Garden. Here we come again.
What was it? What was this?
You remember the police that get shot downtown?
Yes.
If you see the news last night, what it said. You remember, it said that... Sir Perkins?
Yes, remind me.
Yes, I'm going to remind you. It said that the youth that gets shot, the officer that gets shot, he was shot.
The policeman that got shot?
Yeah, the policeman that got shot.
An officer is somebody above the rank of...
Yes.
Superintendent, I believe.
Right. Yeah. The news predicate that them says one of Zion train, he get killed.
Above the rank of inspector.
Yeah, no, it's the member.
Superintendent upwards. Yes, anyway, go ahead.
Yes, he said like it was a member of the Zion train take a revenge and kill that young policeman there.
Yes.
Which, why looking at it, where Zion train live?
Where does Zion train live?
Zion train lived in Tivoli Garden.
Oh, is that so?
Okay, check it out. And then the news reading say it's a payback.
Yes.
For that policeman. So I wonder what kind of news is that really look like Tivoli Garden. Here we come again. You check the news.
So what are you saying?
Yes.
What are you saying, sir? That the People's National Party can't go, being in office, can't go to an election without a raid on Tivoli Gardens?
Yes, it looks so. But the people must open up them high.
Well,
because if you say Zion Train is one of Zion Train members, and them even show a picture of a man. Remember? Said they want him for that killing.
But I remember when they shot a couple of policemen were shot at the intersection of West King's House Road and Waterloo Road.
Yes, Mr. Perkins.
There was some talk of the shooters coming out of Tivoli Gardens, no?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes, I remember.
Yes.
But I was just surprised last night to see that Edin say is a payback, they kill the young man that been shot at. How much people carry gun in this country, Mr. Perkins?
I don't know. Large numbers of them, apparently.
The gunman carry gun.
Yes.
The police carry gun. The licensed people them carry gun. Right? And the police force is so corrupt that you can't trust them. And I don't think them run no quite good evidence yet for say, you understand, is that man. Friend.
Well, I don't know that it's fair to... Is it a matter that the police force is so corrupt?
Yes.
Or that there is so much corruption in the police force?
There's enough corruption.
Because there's a slight difference between those two.
And I was surprised, Mr. Perkins, to hear that. I was very downhearted. Because that show you like them picking out Tivoli Garden again to put a raid on Tivoli Garden. That's not very nice. That's not very nice.
Yes.
And I want to say something to you. Again, one more thing. Perkins?
Yes?
I want to say one more thing to you. When you find Mr. Greenspan...
Greenspan?
Yeah, Greenspan.
What about him?
I don't get no work as yet. I'm trying to get some work, but I don't get no work as yet.
Oh, yes?
You know?
But the economy is taking off, you know. It's taking off into the stratosphere.
I wouldn't mind you get Mr. Greenspan for me.
I remember Mr. Patterson telling us that after the last election. You remember he had a meeting in Penis Park?
Yes.
And gave an address there in which he said that the economy was on the verge of a takeoff into the stratosphere, man. Hasn't happened yet. But, you know, with an election coming up,
yes,
we are hearing more about the takeoff.
I wonder, I don't hear Mr. Greenspan from one ear.
Yes.
I would like to meet him and beg him some work.
All right.
Mr. Perkins.
Yes.
I would like to leave my number with you after here.
Okay, I'll ask somebody to take
it. Give me a call. I want you to give me a call. I have a little thing that I want to talk to you about.
Just hold on. Okay, hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, man, good afternoon, sir. Yeah, I got a call from your,
hello?
Yeah, I sent you an email and I got a call from a producer of yours, and he was telling me about, I actually heard you mentioning something about the police cars being tolled on the toll road. That's the highway running from Mandela through to Maypen side.
Yes.
I actually witnessed a police car drove up to the toll, and I was surprised to see when the man was paying his toll, because I thought he was going to drive through. And contrary to what somebody was saying to you, that they didn't pay toll, this was something that I actually witnessed. So,
yes.
That's confirming.
The police do pay tolls.
Well, that's what I saw.
You saw it?
What I witnessed, yeah.
Yes.
I was right behind him, and I thought he was going to drive through without paying the toll.
Yes.
But then he paid, get his receipt and his change.
Oh, is that so?
Yes, that's what I saw.
And what? He was... this was not a...
It was a marked car, man. It was a marked police car.
I see. All right, so I tell you something, you see, on those toll roads, you know, some strange things happen.
I tell you something, you see. Yes, I'm not sure what he was conveying to you, because I mean, the information. Well, what I witnessed was not what he was relating.
I follow you. Well, we need to get to the bottom of it.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon.
Mr. Perkins?
Hello, yes.
How are you doing, sir?
Not too bad, thank you. You?
Good.
Good.
Tell me something. What is, I mean, on one of your hands, can you tell me 3 things that you think that the PNP has ever done for this country that's good?
The things that the PNP has done for the country that is good, that are good?
Yes.
You need to give me a little more time. But I'm sure they have done things that are good.
I'm not being political.
I'm
not being political here now, but I mean, this is the first time I'm calling a program.
Yes.
I've been listening to you.
Well, let me tell you something. I was talking this morning about the Capital Development Fund. Was started by Mr. Manley, and I thought that was a good idea.
Okay. That's only one. There isn't anything else.
Yes, I'm sure that there are other things. It's a matter of remembering it now.
Okay, I see.
You know.
You see, what I would like you to do, you see, is to, I mean, try and emphasize on the positives. Really, this is not my main.
Emphasize on the positive.
Yes, emphasize.
What do you mean by that?
Things that are positive within the school.